with quarterback Justin Herbert is ongoing. Herbert's entering year 4 of his 5-year rookie contract, scheduled to earn $4.23 million. He's eligible to sign a long-term extension. Herbert expressing continued faith in the organization. Bills continuing to work on their defensive line, added another veteran presence to their pass rush group, agreed with former Rams linebacker Leonard Floyd on a 1-year deal. ESPN NFL insider Jeremy Fowler.
There are several good free agent pass rushers that were on the market, but Floyd was considered by some teams to be the top guy. He's got at least 9 sacks in each of the last 3 years. And so the Bills can now pair Floyd with Greg Rousseau, their young pass rusher, and Von Miller. Those two were together with the LA Rams.
Miller coming off a major right ACL injury. His availability for the start of the season is in question. Michael Vick, Larry Fitzgerald, Terrell Suggs among the players on the 2024 College Football Hall of Fame ballot. Coco Gauff, a straight sets win today. She's on to a 3rd straight French Open quarterfinals.
It's Wrangler season out there. Open roads, endless horizons. Shop Wrangler.com for new denim styles, made for your next adventure. Wrangler, for the ride of life.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
Let's ride.
He was up and ready.
I see not much has changed since I've been gone, huh, Muse? How are you there, man?
Hey, look, man, it's the first time being on this side in a week.
Oh,
my
God.
First side being on a week. Yeah.
I mean, your boy leaves for a week. He comes back. The first freaking minute, the first second of the show.
Look, you got to get back into it a little bit. I was over there for a week. It's a different world. It's a different world.
I don't know where Noah's listening anyway. All right, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
As you know, doing what he do, there's Muso. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. Fantastic to be back. That is only partly true. If I had my druthers, I would be back on 30A. Eat your heart out, Terrio. Looking at that crystal clear, beautiful water, staying in a palatial estate with my family. I would do that. I would be right back there. But in all seriousness, thanks to Muso for filling in. Hope everybody had an awesome week. It is really good to be back. And Baton Rouge Regional looks like it could be winding down as we sit here right now pushing off from the dock. LSU leads Oregon State 7-2. Top 6. Runner on second. Dylan Cruz just went kaboom here in the top of the 6th. A runner on second. Hayden Travinsky at the plate. And he rounds to fielder's choice. He hit it hard, though. So Tigers win. We all know they'll advance to the Super Regional round. We'll keep an eye on Kentucky and Indiana. What's the latest with that game?
Well, that game starts in 2 hours.
It's at 5 Central?
5 Central time,
5
yes.
Central is
5
when that
Central
starts.
time.
Okay, so we'll keep our eye on Kentucky and Indiana, the winner of that game. That is a deciding winner-take-all game there in the Lexington Regional, as Kentucky had to come out of the losers bracket, beat Indiana, has to come back and beat them again today. We all know what's happened here in Baton Rouge. LSU beats Tulane on Friday. The rains came. The marble game didn't happen until Sunday, which itself was also delayed. And now LSU here sitting pretty. Oregon State's got to beat the Tigers twice if they want to advance. LSU just needs one win. They currently sit 7-2, top of the 6. Runner on first with 2 outs. So just a quick catch-up. I do understand many of you are watching this game live, so cool. We'll kind of talk a little bit about the regional while this transpires, and hopefully LSU puts this one to bed. And we'll also get into some of the other stuff that we have to get to today. Whenever this game ends, we will become a de facto post-game show. I'm assuming this is going to end probably in about an hour. They're heading to the bottom of the 6th right now, so this should wrap up here at about 4 o'clock Central Time, and we'll spend the final couple hours of the show doing a regional recap, sort of a post-game, look ahead to the Supers, all that sort of stuff. So we appreciate you for being here with us. A couple of things about this game here that's taken place. Number one, I think Jay Johnson's decision to start Riley Cooper was a big one. My assumption was that he would go Javen Coleman. We've seen Javen Coleman pitch really in that number 3 starter role quite a bit since he's been back from injury. And so to go opposite that to start Cooper, who we haven't really seen start since the beginning of the season, just a handful of starts in his career. But you have a veteran arm there. And so you went with a veteran arm in that spot. Oh, excuse me. I forgot to do this. Let's kick off the show the way we do. Again, yeah, old habits, new stuff. Hit it, yeah.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
There we go. That is appropriate. So there we're even, Muse. You screwed up, I screwed up. I guess we're both working our way back in. But the decision to start Riley Cooper, you got a veteran arm. Riley Cooper's pitched in. Paul, I sent you a new graphic, by the way, as well. I guess we're all, yes. Oh, my goodness. 6 minutes.
Man, look, you shake it up for a week, man. You shake it up for a week.
What in the world is going on?
It's tough.
Musso hitting the wrong button. Paul's got the wrong graphic. I forget to mention the sponsor. I mean, it's like,
we're ready now, though.
Are we?
Yeah, we're ready now.
By the way, the Wi-Fi in the building's not working, apparently.
But that's not our fault.
That's not our fault, but that certainly complicates your opportunity to do a radio show when you rely heavily on the internet.
Now, that is true.
So decision to start Riley Cooper. He gave you 3 innings. He threw 3 innings without allowing a hit, and worked out of trouble in third. He started the third, walk, hit by pitch. So he had first and second, nobody out. And Muse, were you watching it? What first and second, nobody out in the third? What did Oregon State do there?
Oh, they bunted.
Got it. So they gave up and out to advance the runners.
Yeah, they bunted their best hitter, too.
Yeah, right. He's struggled a little bit here.
Of
late, but they bunted their best hitter. A guy who went yard yesterday, too, by the way.
He did.
So they bunted him. So they went second and third with 1 out. And then what happened?
Jordan Thompson made a great play at shortstop.
Ground ball, got him at home.
Normal depth, too. Wasn't even playing in. Just guns the dude down at home.
Yep, that happened. And then, but surely they got the runner in after that, right?
No, they didn't.
Oh, what happened?
I believe it was a pop-up.
Yeah, wow. Weird. Strange that would happen. It's actually a weak grounder to Trey Morgan at first.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, so again, bunting. Don't do it. But listen, Riley Cooper worked out of trouble. LSU kind of exploded for 4 runs there in the 4th inning. It was good to see the bats get going. The big blow came from Josh Pearson with a 2-run double. And again, I don't have internet right now, so I'm not looking at active stats in front of me. But the really interesting thing that we've seen is Jay Johnson's decision to reinsert Josh Pearson in the lineup, really in the last month, continues to come up aces. It's just, and it's not necessarily that Josh Pearson's hitting 500. It's that he continues to come up in big spots, like he did against Georgia, like he did in the SEC tournament, like he did here today, like he did yesterday when he homered and tripled. He just continues to come up in big spots. And with 2 on and 2 outs, he hit a ball in the gap to right center. It cleared the bases, another triple for Pearson, and LSU put up a 4 spot. Oregon State would answer with 2 in the bottom of the 4th, but again, a really nice job by Cooper and the Nackenhausen to work around trouble to get out of that. The real tough part for Oregon State in this game right now is they are completely out of pitching. And I know I'm sure you all talked about this a week ago, but Oregon State came into this regional down 2 of their starters. Sellers, their ace, pitched the opening game of the regional, gave him 7 1/3, was really good. But Oregon State yesterday had to extend a couple of guys, namely Ferrer and Lattery, who started the game. Lattery went through 57 pitches, Ferrer through 54. Both of them have come back and pitched today after throwing north of 50 pitches a day ago. That is a really, really tough ask. And honestly, it's a little bit, it's kind of how sometimes coaches get a bad reputation. I understand that, Mitch Canham's in a tough spot there. They're down some arms. They're in a regional. They've had to come out of the losers bracket. It's tough going. But, man, to run those guys back out there a day after each going north of 50 pitches, I get season on the line, all that stuff. That is a really, really tough ask. Oregon State just homered off of Nate Atkinson, 2-run bomb. I didn't see how the runner got on. Did you see how the runner got on?
Walk.
So that's twice now that the 4 runs that Oregon State has scored have both been 2-run homers with a man on base who walked. So the lesson is don't walk people. So LSU still leads 7-4, bottom 6, nobody out. Nate Atkinson on the mound. This one, it feels far from over. LSU feels like they are far from done scoring, but so too, as it seems, is Oregon State. So it's after further review. We're glad to have you with us. Today's Open, as every day, is brought to you by Bud Light. Y'all be on the lookout for this. One of the really cool things, 13 years ago, you've heard us talk a lot about Folds of Honor over the years. We've here at Guarantee have done tremendous work with Folds of Honor. I should say Folds of Honor does tremendous work. If you're not familiar, Folds of Honor started as an organization to provide scholarships to the children of our fallen war heroes. Started 13 years ago, and over the last 13 years, Anheuser-Busch and via Budweiser, Bud Light have donated $21 million as a founding partner of Folds of Honor. So when Folds of Honor started 13 years ago, Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light, Budweiser got behind it, and it's an amazing organization. We've done a lot with Folds of Honor here. The Calandras Whiskey Raffle that we do, one year that those proceeds went to Folds of Honor. We've done golf tournaments for Folds of Honor. It's a really an amazing organization if you've never heard the story of how the organization was started. But anyway, starting on Memorial Day last Monday, you're starting to see Budweiser and Bud Light bottles, the aluminum bottles with the camouflage logos on them, with the Folds of Honor logo as well and the info. Of course, the American flag has it's 13 bars, it's 13 folds when you fold the flag, and then or 13 stripes, 13 stripes, 13 folds, and now 13 years of Folds of Honor. So really cool. There's a barcode on every, I'll hold one up if you're watching. There's a barcode on the back of everyone. If you want to scan the back of the barcode, you can get more info on it and how you can support Folds of Honor, which is an awesome organization. So hat tip to our friends over at Mockler Beverage and all the folks with Budweiser, Bud Light for the great work that they do with Folds of Honor, and, of course, the great work that Folds of Honor does. Okay, it's after further review. We are glad to have you aboard with us here. We'll knock out a quick break. We'll keep you posted on what's going on there in the Baton Rouge Regional. Atkinson's still in a little bit of trouble. He just plunked a batter, so 1 on, 1 out. It's a 7-4 LSU lead now, bottom 6. We're keeping our eye on what's going on there at the box. All right, it's after further review. We'll knock out a quick break. Stick around.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Of course, if you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. Get Gordon, get it done. I keep reminding you this. There's a really cool video Gordon has up right now on his social. It's a video of a dog running out in front of traffic, a car slamming on their brakes, then getting hit from behind. The question is, okay, well, who's at fault? Well, Gordon sort of walks through that. So a lot of his social media is actually also just giving you free legal advice, aside from all the fun stuff, like Grubbin with G, where he sits down and talks with all the NIL athletes. Couldn't recommend highly enough. Go to any of the social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Follow them at Get Gordon. Of course, if you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. You need representation. Get Gordon and get it done. Call 888-8888. That's 888-8888, or go to getgordon.com. That's getgordon.com. You know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Turn my music high, 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 yeah. You don't know what you're doing. Sure I do. I'm from the streets where the hood can swallow on me. Bullets will follow on me. There's so much that you could run the slalom. And cops comb this top to bottom. They say that we are prone to violence, but it's home sweet home. With personalities clashing, chrome meets chrome. Prices up and down like this wall.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
All right, let's say ah.
Where'd my spotlight go?
Super.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Griffin Herring is on to pitch for LSU, gets fly ball out to left field. So they're bottom six out at the box. LSU leading Oregon State 7-4. 2 on, 1 out for the Tigers. And what you're seeing illustrated here is great depth for the LSU pitching, which something we didn't think over the last 2 months. I spent a lot of the last 2 months kind of defending LSU's pitching depth, while many LSU fans moaned and complained about the lack of performance and production out of the bullpen, which is undeniable. They struggled at times, but I think the point remained pretty consistently that you had enough arms that at times throughout the year showed you they were capable. And on a given day, you could certainly go to Nate Ackenhausen, Griffin Herring, Riley Cooper, and they could pitch well. And you've seen that, well enough to win. But you were always going to have to lead with offense, which LSU has done here today. And you were going to have to very quickly identify when it wasn't someone's day and get them out of the game. And certainly the key was LSU was going to have to play its way through the winner's bracket, which they've done here by the hardest, but they've done it, and that's going to be the key next weekend in the Supers, provided they advance, and then in Omaha should they get there. So the Tigers have certainly had their opportunity here playing through the winner's bracket, and you've seen the pressure that coming through the loser's bracket that's placed on Oregon State because they're just flat out of pitching. LSU sitting here at a spot where Paul Skeens threw a complete game. Obviously, you had to burn Ty Floyd after just 3 innings. But you were able to finish the game with Thatcher Hurd and then Gavin Guidry, who would certainly be available here today. You've gone Riley Cooper, Nate Ackenhausen. Now we're seeing Griffin Herring. I mean, think about the guys that haven't even pitched yet in this regional. We haven't seen Bryce Collins yet in this regional. Blake Money, Sam Dutton. I mean, you've got guys who hadn't thrown a pitch. I mean, so you've got plenty of arms still available to get through this game and potentially another if you need to. But for LSU, coming out of the loser's bracket is just not going to be a plausible thing for them to do. It wouldn't have been here, and all the pressure is just clearly on Oregon State. So wild pitch by Griffin Herring. And was that a wild pitch or pass ball? I just saw it get to the backstop.
They'll rule it a wild pitch, yeah.
Okay. It's been a little bit of a rough day behind the plate for Travinski.
He has struggled.
And, yesterday, the strike him out, throw him out was such a key part of that game where, you had allowed you'd allowed Oregon State sort of a bit of an uprising. And after they went homer, that was in the second or the third? It was
third.
the third.
It was the third inning.
They go homer, double, single. So you got to run in first and second. And they had an opportunity to get more. And ultimately, you got to strike him out, throw him out, and then you got out of the inning with a strikeout. So it was a huge moment in the game and a great play by Travinsky, because it would have been completely reasonable for the runner at third to break to home when Travinsky went to second, but hosed to second base for the strike him out, throw him out, and ultimately LSU got out of that really with limited damage, just one run. Yeah,
I was surprised the runner didn't break for him.
Me too.
I was shocked, actually.
I was surprised Travinsky threw the ball, but it worked out.
Yeah.
But the point is, that was a beautiful play. Mm-hmm. But today he struggled behind the plate. But LSU, just as we just saw there, LSU has been able to mitigate that damage because pitchers have come up time and again with big pitches like Herring. That was a strikeout?
It was.
Okay, so Herring just comes up with a strikeout there to mitigate the damage after the pass ball. So they head to the seventh. LSU up 7-4. 7-4?
7-4.
All right, 7-4 as they head to the seventh. Excuse me. I'm trying to host a show and kind of keep an eye on the game as well. All right, so when this game goes final, let your friends know if you're here with us. Let your friends know if they're at the game, watching the game. As soon as this game goes final, we just sort of shift to de facto post-game show for this game. So we're glad to have you aboard with us here on a Monday edition of AFR, presented by Relief Windows, Windows, Door Siding, Relief Windows, and ReliefWindows.com. They're at commercial break, so this actually gives me a good opportunity to shift gears a little bit. Late last week, Mickey Loomis was a guest on Sirius XM NFL Radio with Solomon Wilcots and Bill Polian. And he was asked about Cam Jordan's contract extension, or really his future with the organization, because we've talked about, what the future is going to look like for Cam Jordan in New Orleans. As an aging player right now, a guy who would certainly have an opportunity to maybe leave New Orleans, try to win a championship elsewhere with a better team, better roster, as we've seen guys do. I made the comparison when we first had this conversation to Ricky Jackson, guy who was the Saints' all-time sack leader, who left New Orleans and won a Super Bowl in San Francisco in 1994. So that's not altogether uncommon. J.J. Watt just recently left Houston and went to Arizona, kind of pursuing a Super Bowl. We've seen guys like Ndamukong Suh bounce around a little bit, and then late in their career only pick spots as a free agent where they have a chance to win a Super Bowl, like in Tampa and this last year in Philly or in L.A. with the Rams. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if Cam Jordan elected to leave New Orleans, and he'll be a free agent after next season, and pursue an opportunity to go win a Super Bowl somewhere. But Mickey Loomis said on Sirius XM NFL Radio, quote, Cam, he's going to be able to play for us as long as he wants and as long as he can. Then when the time comes, his name will come up in the Ring of Honor and the Hall of Fame and all those other accolades that come with a player of his stature. End quote. So next offseason, Cam will be a free agent. As I mentioned, he's already surpassed Ricky Jackson's record for sacks in a career. And what was interesting, I have no doubt at all that the day Cam Jordan retires, he'll be in the Saints Ring of Honor, and he'll be in the Saints Hall of Fame. And he is arguably the best defensive player in Saints history. And if he plays another 2, 3, 4 seasons, whatever that may look like, and continues to compile stats, he will go down as the greatest defensive player in Saints history, and he will be a Pro Football Hall of Famer. There's two questions, really. Number one, how close is Cam Jordan to being a Hall of Famer already? And number two, if he does, in fact, re-sign with the New Orleans Saints, what does that contract look like? I just want to put some context on Cam Jordan. So Cam Jordan, as of right now, has 115 and a half sacks for his career. That puts him 23rd all-time. Do you know who's 24th on the list? J.J. Watt. Cam Jordan has one more sack than J.J. Watt. And oh, by the way, those two came into the NFL in the same season. Now, J.J. Watt had NFL Defensive Player of the Year seasons, but Cam Jordan, who has every year of his career had at least 7 sacks, pretty incredible. The durability that he has had, which that's obviously what plagued J.J. Watt. But my point is, when you look in the history of the NFL, official sack leaders, like I'll just run through this very quickly. Bruce Smith, Reggie White, Kevin Green, all Hall of Famers. Julius Peppers, 4th. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. Chris Dolman, Hall of Famer. Michael Strahan, Hall of Famer. Jason Taylor, 7th Hall of Famer. Terrell Suggs is 8th, not in the Hall of Fame yet. But I would assume that he retired in 2019, so he's not eligible yet. But Terrell Suggs will be in the Hall of Fame. DeMarcus Ware's in the Hall of Fame. Richard Dent, John Randall, Jared Allen is going into the Hall of Fame. 13th is John Abraham. 14th is Leslie O'Neal, tied with Lawrence Taylor, who's in the Hall of Fame. Ricky Jackson, 16th, who's in the Hall of Fame. Derek Thomas, who's in the Hall of Fame. Then Dwight Freeney, Von Miller, Robert Mathis, Simeon Rice, Clyde Simmons, and Cam Jordan. My point is, and it's a little weird because there's unofficial leaders and there's official leaders, but how it's listed based on when sacks were kept as an official statistic. The point is, Cam Jordan, if he just continues at the pace he is going to end up very likely. Let's say he accumulates another 20 sacks in his career, which is very reasonable. If he plays another 3 or 4 seasons at an average of 7 sacks a year, he should be right in that 15 to 20 sack range. You're talking about a guy that will ultimately finish with, if he's at 115 right now, you're talking about a guy that's going to end up with 130 thereabouts sacks. He's going to end up right around where Richard Dent, John Randall, Jared Allen are in the career records. And that's going to make him a Pro Football Hall of Famer. So that much, I think, is going to take care of itself in time. And that's not just a stat accumulator. He has been durable. He's been the best defensive player while he's on an all-decades team. Like Cam Jordan, I think, is headed toward a Pro Football Hall of Fame gold jacket inevitably. Like, that's going to happen. The bigger question for me, I think, right now is what will a Cam Jordan contract look like in either this offseason, if they're able to get it done, or next offseason when Cam Jordan hits free agency? And that's really the question, because the current deal that Cam Jordan has is 3 years, $52.5 million, an average of $17.5 million per year. His $15.1 million cap charge for this year is the highest on the team. So while Cam Jordan, you could argue throughout his career, has been honestly underpaid based on his production relative to the position he plays, he still carries the biggest cap number, and his average of $17.5 million per year on this contract is still a sizable number. And now you're talking about a player who, at this point in his career, at 29, going on 30 years old, you wonder how much longer does he want to play and how much longer can he play at this level. So, I think when you look at the average, per, Myles Garrett leads the way at $25 million. Von Miller at $20 million. Actually, if we look at, Max Crosby's deal, put him at $23.5. Leonard Williams at 21, then Von Miller at 20, then there's Cam Jordan at 17.5. So Cam Jordan at 17.5 is still 1, 2, 3, 4, is the 5th highest paid annually salary. So if he wants to sign a comparable deal, I'm perfectly fine with that. I don't know that you can justify at this point in his career paying Cam Jordan the annual salary that Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, Leonard Williams, Von Miller maybe is a little different because he signed the giant deal with Buffalo, the $120 million deal. But I don't know that I can justify paying Cam Jordan at this point top 3 NFL defensive end money. But if you want to pay Cam Jordan and keep him very comfortably in the top 10, even around the top 5 where he is now, I think that is more than reasonable, because when you look around who's after that, who signed contracts, Dramont Jones, Eric Armstead, Chandler Jones is at 17 per. Emmanuel Ogbah's at 16.35. You can sort of see Trey Hendricks in the deal he signed is $15 million per year. So, I would be comfortable paying Cam Jordan as salary caps continue to rise, a requisite number that he has right now, but continuing to escalate a player as he moves into his 30s, as you would assume production will decline. You go to the question that you always ask: Are you paying a player for what he did? Or are you paying a player for what he's going to do? And I think there has to be a little bit of a blend, because you're projecting what that player is going to be able to do over the life of this contract. And Cam Jordan, you would assume at some point throughout the life of this contract, this next contract he signs, we'll start to see his productivity decline. So cap increases. That number, he'll get surpassed by younger guys signing their new contract, but it keeps Cam Jordan on a level playing field payment-wise, what he's making right now. That would make a lot of sense. So something to keep an eye on as we move throughout this offseason. Cam Jordan is going to sign a new deal with the Saints, as we all assume he will, and this will allow him to finish his career in New Orleans, continue to compile upon a Hall of Fame resume, and continue to make an awful lot of money, it's probably just not going to be top 5 defensive end money as it moves through the life of that contract. All right, it's After Further Review. Monday show is brought to you by Relief Windows. Gavin Dugas homered. Solo shot, did I see that?
Yep, solo shots lead off the inning over the left field landing, really the left center field landing. It was an absolute seed that he hit.
Is that his second? And then Pearson just...
Look at this guy, man.
Who was that, Thompson on
that
first?
Was
How did
Thompson.
Thompson get on base?
Thompson, his second hit of the day, another backside single. Josh Pearson's got to be... Yeah, it was a voice crack. You heard that? Wow.
I did hear that.
Josh Pearson's got to be the regional MVP right now, right? I mean, he's got at least 5 RBI. He's got 2 triples, a homer. That's his second or third hit today. If there's anybody who is over him, it's this guy digging into the box right now, Dylan Cruz. But
by the way, one other thing about Cruz. Oh, we need a break. We'll come back. But so Cruz homered. He's 2 for 3 today. He singled, hit a smash on third baseline, but it goes as a ground out, and homered. So he's 2 for 3. He's at 429 on the season. Am I the only one that cares about the season batting average record?
No, I care. I care too. I'm watching it.
Nobody is talking about this at all.
I know.
Nobody's writing about it. Nobody's tweeting about it. They've not mentioned it at all on any of the game broadcasts. I know you've been at the box. I've been watching. Nobody's talking about this. So Dylan, all season, had surpassed Ray Frimes' career batting average record of 431. He fell below it and is now creeping back up. He's at 429. And I presume they're going to play into next weekend. But if he gets a base hit here, he could very well tie or surpass Rafe right here with a hit. But anyway, I just find it fascinating because this is a piece of history that you don't see that come around very often. And it's a significant number. It's like the single season batting average number. And it stood for 30 years until Rafe surpassed it. And like Dylan Cruz may set a mark that might not ever be broken. So, or not for many, many, many years. So anyway, I care about it. So we'll keep our eye at it. All right, so LSU's up 8-4. All right, 8-4 LSU. Dylan Cruz at the plate. They're top 8. They're top 7. Okay, sorry. I'm trying to keep track with it all as we go, and I host a show here as well. All right, let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back, keep you up to date what's going on. We'll go around the SEC. Billy Embody said a big recruiting weekend for LSU football this past weekend. Billy's set to be with us here in about 28 minutes, top of hour number 2. So, and again, whenever this LSU baseball game ends against Oregon State, as soon as it ends, we turn into post-game show. So tell everybody if they're at the park, leaving the park, if they're watching this game, whatever, as soon as the game ends, let them know we're doing full-on post-game show whenever this game ends. Stick around, AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Pluckers, Nicholson, and Bluebonnet. Dine-in, carry-out, or delivery. 28 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice-cold draft beer, full-service bar, sports on TV. You want to watch all your regional baseball action? You can do it at Pluckers, either location, Nicholson or Bluebonnet. Tonight, every Monday, all-you-can-eat wings. So you want to watch the regional action that goes deep into the night? You can do it at Pluckers. As Muse mentioned, coming up here in just less than 2 hours. You've got Kentucky and Indiana. The winner of that game presumably will come to Baton Rouge next weekend. You want to watch that game? You can do it at Pluckers, either location, Nicholson or Bluebonnet. Tonight and every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. So remember, every Monday, mark it down, set a calendar, tell your friends, set a reminder every single Monday at Pluckers, all-you-can-eat wings. Pay one low price, eat as many wings as you want all night long. That's at either Pluckers location. Need a place for regional baseball, super regional baseball, watch the NBA Finals or any other sport? Make it Pluckers, where if you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Hey, it's Matt Musso. Join me Monday through Friday for your daily update on LSU baseball with Musso at the Box, presented by New Orleans Flooring, wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, Google, and check out New Orleans Flooring. 2 locations, Metairie and Prairieville, or NOLAFlooring.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off new 22 Ram 1500 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink,
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Tommy White with a big knock. Boy, did he need that. Muse, can you look up what his regional stat line is? I'm curious what he's done. I don't believe that's his first hit of the regional. I'm just trying to think.
It's not his first hit because he had a single in his first at bat yesterday.
That's right.
He had a single in his first.
I think he got stranded.
It might be a second hit. I'll confirm.
He went opposite. He went the other way. It was a 2 RBI single, and it chased. Was it Hutchinson who was pitching? It chased Hutchinson, who threw yesterday. You've seen 3 pitchers already today that threw yesterday against LSU in this game. It just goes to illustrate. I mean, it's why for any team it's so hard to come out of the losers bracket. But especially in the regional format, and even more so in this regional, where you were made to play twice Sunday, twice Monday, if you were going to advance because of all the delays. So LSU right now, 10-4, top 7, 2 on, and this is Trey Morgan at the plate with 1 out and runners at the corners. We're going to go around the SEC in just a quick second. Quickly, let me get you caught up on what all the SEC teams have done in regional play for those that haven't been able to keep an eye. Pass ball? Or wild pitch?
I'm going to be honest. I didn't see. I was looking at Tommy White's stat line. That's my bad.
I looked up, a ball was at the backstop, and Dylan Cruz scored. So, anyway, it's 11-4 now. So, this one's getting out of hand a little bit as LSU just continues piling on. So, Auburn lost their home regional. They lost to Penn and Southern Miss, so they were 2-Q. Tennessee won the Clemson regional. And they beat Clemson in the marble game. And what was the game of the regional? It finished in 13, correct?
14.
It was 14. Oh, the 13th inning is the 13th inning is where the Clemson defender was ejected for using apparently dirty language while running off the field.
Oh, the horror!
I know.
In a competitive environment.
So Tennessee advances. That's not a great surprise. Now they play the winner of the Auburn regional, which Tennessee's going to walk to Omaha, which in good form. They beat Charlotte yesterday. South Carolina won their regional. They swept through it. They face Florida, who came out of the losers bracket to beat Texas Tech twice, including today. Arkansas, they got to win 2 games against TCU. Or have they started yet? Help me out.
They have. Arkansas was up 1-0 in the second right before we came on air. I can get a quick check of it.
Okay, let me know if you find it. Kentucky hosts Indiana in a winner-take-all starting at 5 Central here today. Vanderbilt was eliminated by Xavier. I'm a little surprised by Vandy. If you would have asked me what was a dark horse out of the SEC, and by the way, I'm not counting Tennessee as a dark horse. Maybe I should have, but I picked Tennessee to win that regional. I'm not surprised they did. National championship dark horse, I thought Vanderbilt had the pitching to do it, and at times their lineup has been good enough to do it. They haven't been consistent, but that's a team that if they got hot could have made a lot of noise. But Vanderbilt, they get eliminated in their home regional for the second consecutive year. There's a lot of people up in Nashville not happy today, which is weird because it's still Vanderbilt. They don't really care very much, but they've been a really good program, and to lose a home regional in consecutive years is not something they're used to. Texas A&M, they're in the winner-take-all game against Stanford today, and then Alabama won their regional. They swept through it. What you got?
Arkansas is up in the top of the 5th right now, 4-2. Looks like it's been a struggle for TCU on the bump. Arkansas just has 2 hits. They have 4 hits, and it's 4 runs and 2 hits.
Okay.
So they're leading.
All right, so Arkansas needs to win twice. So they got to win that game, then come back and win again against TCU, who beat them 20-4?
20-5, yeah.
20-5 yesterday?
Yeah,
incredible.
One guy hit 2 grand slams and 3 home runs. He had 11 RBIs.
This guy with 11 RBIs I saw on Twitter. It's crazy. Okay, it's after further review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. Let me remind you about Shaw Bill's Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. We just got back from the beach. If you and your family are going to be heading out for that family vacay, before you put the car on the road, make sure you go see our friends at Shaw Bill's. You need the tires rotated. You need the oil change, that check engine lights on, the brakes are squeaking. Whatever you got going on, Shaw Bill's can help you out. For more than 50 years, Shaw Bill's is helping people in South Louisiana keep their vehicles running on the roads. It's Shaw Bill's. And, of course, if you need tires, nobody is going to sell you name-brand tires at wholesale prices like Shaw Bill's. Go to ShawBillsTire.com to find the location nearest you. ShawBillsTire.com. Shaw Bill's, where we keep you rolling. Base knock by Hayden Travinski there. Was that an RBI single? There was a runner at third, yeah?
Yeah, it should have scored a run.
So runner at third, Travinski just went the opposite way. He continues to stay in fuego. Yeah, I'll see your Josh Pearson for regional MVP, and I'll raise you Hayden Travinski.
And then there's Dylan Cruz. Like, Dylan Cruz has 3 multi-hit games this week. So, I mean, there's that too. They've been good. They've been good this week offensively, man.
It has not been without moments of stress in this regional.
Yeah.
But LSU is – few regionals are a cakewalk. But because everybody at this point is good. I mean, everybody warrants being in the NCAA tournament. But the LSU up 12-4 now in the top of the 7th. Okay, let's do this really quickly. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Ole Miss Rebels.
Ole Miss added wide receiver Zachary Franklin. We talked about Franklin when he went into the portal. 2-time All-Conference USA selection at UTSA. A tied second nationally in touchdown receptions a year ago, and he's UTSA's all-time leading receiver. But now he's headed to Ole Miss to play there for Lane Kiffin in his final season. He enters a group that has seniors Jordan Watkins and Dayton Wade.
The Auburn Tigers.
Auburn added defensive back Champ Anthony. He's leaving his JUCO in Texas to play at Auburn in 2023. 6'1", 176. He'll likely play nickel back there for Hugh Freeze's squad. Had offers from BYU, North Dakota State, and Old Dominion.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
Arkansas has added a late piece to its 2023 class. Wide receiver Desmond James out of North Carolina. 6'2", 185. He was originally expected to go JUCO, but in the last 4 days, he got offers from North Carolina, Liberty, and Arkansas. Ultimately picked the Hogs. He's a 3-star, the number 72 wide receiver in the country. Auburn now at its limit of 85 scholarships.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Bama added to its 2025 recruiting class. They got a commitment from running back Anthony Rogers, the number 39 player in the country for 2025. He's the second highest commit for Bama's 2025 class. Also had Georgia, Florida, Auburn, and Oregon among his finalists. 5'9", 190. He's from Alabama, but he's playing right now at IMG Academy.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
And State got a commitment from offensive lineman Luke Work, a 6'6", 285-pound, 3-star offensive tackle, the number 40 player in the state of Tennessee, the 7th commit for Mississippi State's upcoming class. All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy Trey Beal and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products online at gcopnet.com, gcopnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. Face-to-face sales, service after the sale. The mic's falling over. Tell you what, you leave for a week and the whole studio starts falling apart. Go to Gulf Coast Office Products. GCOPnet.com, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, the North Shore, Lafayette's Gulf Coast Office Products. You need office equipment, Gulf Coast Office Products can help. GCOPnet.com. Okay, let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back, wrap up hour number one. Beloso strikes out looking on a pretty wicked bender. They're headed to the bottom of the seventh now with LSU up 12-4 over Oregon State, and it looks like a formality at this point, but, knock on Formica. Stick around, it's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by ProCharge EV, ProChargeEV.com. Electric vehicle charging stations for your home or for your office building. I want to remind you, if you own a business or any commercial property, you see electric vehicles everywhere now, probably in your neighborhood, you're driving down I-10, wherever you may be. And everyone has to have a spot to charge those vehicles. Of course, you can do it at their home, but when you're out and about and on the road, you punch into an electric vehicle right there on the dash, and it finds the nearest charging station. Might as well be yours. Because not only will that bring customers into your business, but also there are tap-to-pay options on those electric vehicle chargers. So as people come, pull up into your place of business, plug up, tap to pay, you get paid on each charge. Why wouldn't you do that? Learn more at ProChargeEV.com. Again, ProChargeEV.com, ProChargeEV.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Bayou Ford has $15,000 off plus 0.9% APR for 60 months on all new 22 Ford F-150 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's
AFR. After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Griffin Herring with a 3-up, 3-down, bottom of the 7th. LSU, 12 runs on 16 hits. So much for they can't hit in the clutch, can't hit with runners in scoring position, blah, 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 blah. What are the narratives about LSU that have all...
I mean, my favorite... You know my favorite one.
Braden Joubert?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, man, why is Paxton Clean playing right field? What's Braden Joubert doing out there?
Because Paxton Kling strikes out every other literally in
favorite. Conference
play, struck out every other at bat. And oh, by the way, Braden Joubert hit about a 450-foot yak yesterday to win the game. and oh, by the way, the catch Braden Joubert made on Friday against Tulane behind Skeens was pretty incredible. We know Braden Joubert can hit. We know he can hit for power, which maybe been more telling. He's got a couple of knocks in this game today. And now he's a Deadpool hitter, but it plays. The thing that's been really impressive about Braden, and you know what? I kind of yesterday, I did a lot of content yesterday. I did a 2-hour morning scone, a 2-hour live stream during the rain delay, and then a 1-hour post-game show. And on the post-game show that I did that all on my personal YouTube channel. If you don't subscribe, feel free. Just add Matt Moscona. One of the things I pointed out were 4 guys that I think deserve a tremendous amount of credit for the job they've done this year. Joubert is one of them. But Joubert, Travinski, Gavin Dugas, and Cade Beloso. And here's why, if you'll just kind of allow me a brief moment. All 4 of those guys in fall, they weren't even guaranteed a roster spot, let alone playing time. Right? I mean, there was legit talk about, hey, Braden Joubert, I know you hit 18 bombs, but there probably isn't a spot in this lineup for you this year with all the talent coming in. Maybe you should hit the portal and find a better place to play. Like Hayden Travinski brought in 3 of the top 4 catchers in this freshman class, and Milazzo's coming back off the injury. Probably not going to happen for you, but he stuck it out. Cade Beloso, I mean, I don't mean to be dismissive, but it's like, dude, you want to come back and just be the team mascot sort of thing? I mean, that was kind of the feeling. How are you going to get in the lineup? Gavin Dugas. The assumption was that Gavin Guidry was going to win the starting second base job, but look at all those guys. Dugas put a stranglehold on the starting second base job, and even in spite of his shoulder injury, which is clearly bothering, they're playing, when Oregon State has left-handed hitters up in this regional, they're moving Jordan Thompson to second base. I know Jay never talks about injuries. Gavin Dugas' shoulder is jacked up, okay? It is messed up, and God bless him. He is just gutting it out because he loves the Tigers and wants to wear that uniform. He knows this is it for him, and I respect the hell out of it. Cade Beloso could have very easily got married, walked, but even not playing this year. You know what happened to Cade Beloso? I give him a pinch hit in a midweek game. Knock. Give him a start. 3 for 4. Should we start him in conference play? 4 for 5. Dude was hitting 500. And you're like, you can't justify taking him out of the lineup. He always gives you quality at bat. He's second on the team in on-base percentage behind Dylan Cruz. Actually, the 2 guys next in on-base percentage after Dylan Cruz are Cade Beloso and Gavin Dugas, because they're dudes that are veteran and they just know how to get on base even if they're not hitting. Dugas is hitting 288, something like that right now. He's at the plate right now. But he's just a guy that knows how to get on base. He can draw a walk. Look at that. He just hit a chopper down the first baseline, and he's on base. Some guys just know how to put the ball in play or get on base, and Dugas is one of them. And then, of course, we talked about Joubert, we talked about Dugas, Beloso, and then Travinski's a guy who, only because of Neal's injury, did they start platooning he and Milazzo. And Travinski, you just cannot justify taking him out of the lineup. Not just because of the power. He's hitting to all fields. He has played a really solid defensive catcher. Not great, and he's been bad today. I mean, sorry, he has. It's been a tough day behind the plate for him. But all 4 of those guys in this era of transfer portal, it would have never been easier to say, you know what? I'm going to peace out. You know, I love the transfer portal. I'm all for it. Go find the best opportunity for you and make the most. But all those guys said, no, I want to be part of this. And all of them have found a way when they to keep working hard, when they got their opportunity, they made the most of it. I love to see it, man. Like, serious hat tip to those 4 guys on a roster full of insanely talented players. The first 2 picks in the draft, Thompson and Morgan, are going to be top 100 picks. I mean, those dudes have found a way to carve their niche and be impactful players in this team. So, hat tip to all of them, man. All right, what are they reviewing here?
They have to be reviewing runner's interference, which would just be one of the worst calls I've ever seen in my life.
No, he's inside the chalk. That's going to be runner interference.
It's terrible. That throw is so bad.
I get it. The throw was over the first baseman's head. It went into right field, but that's what they're reviewing, and it's probably going to be runner's interference. Okay, Billy Embody next.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online, southpointvw.com. We just got back from the beach. We took Erica's Volkswagen Atlas. It was flawless. I mean, you want to talk about the ease on the interstate, the ease to drive, the great gas mileage, the safety features, and the room. We were able to, y'all don't understand. Like, my wife, when we go on vacation for 5 days, she packs like most people would pack for 5 months. I mean, you think I'm lying? It's excessive. But we had plenty of room for everything in the Atlas. 3-row, 7-seater family SUV. You can fold down that 3rd row for more storage if you need it. Check it out. You need that family SUV, check out the Volkswagen Atlas. If you don't need the 3rd row, do what I did. Buy the Atlas Cross Sport. Takes out the 3rd row, shorter, a little sleeker design. It's the Volkswagen Atlas and the Atlas Cross Sport at South Point Volkswagen. Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer, South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction?
Get 3.99% financing at Corval Toyota in Opelousas on select 2023 models. We also have a large selection of pre-owned inventory. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas. Happy Town, USA.
Relentless reporting gets results.
I'm never going to stop until we get the answers you need.
Uncovering more as the powerful try to cover things up.
What happens in the dark will always come to light.
Founding new principles and practices for the state of Louisiana.
Chief Investigative Reporter Chris Nakamoto.
Chris Nakamoto and the Investigative Unit. Recipients of Columbia University's prestigious DuPont Award.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The NFL is investigating an Indianapolis Colts player for possible violations of the league's gambling policy. The news follows a report by SportsHandle.com, which cited an investigation into a Colts player's pervasive betting, including wagers placed on his own team. The player not named in the report. In April, the NFL suspended 5 players for gambling policy violations. Nuggets looking to regroup after the Game 2 loss in the NBA Finals to the Heat. Denver last night, lack of discipline, poor defensive effort in the fourth quarter, wasted a 41-point performance from Nikola Jokic. Nuggets Heat tied 1-1 with the Finals on to Miami for Game 3 Wednesday. ESPN NBA analyst Kirk Goldsberry.
The Nuggets need more from Michael Porter Jr. They need more from Jamal Murray. And if they lose this series, ultimately it's going to be a letdown. From players not named Nikola Jokic. I think he's been fantastic in almost every playoff game.
Kirk Goldsberry on Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Number 1 seed Oklahoma beat number 9 Stanford 4-2, advanced to the Women's College World Series Finals. The Sooners take on either Florida State or Tennessee for the national championship.
Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do. Fortunately, Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. It's a good thing, too, because having a home is hard work. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. Geico.com. Easy.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Musso. And Mr. Toby Tomplin. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. They're headed to the bottom of the 8th right now out at Alec Box Stadium. LSU leading Oregon State 12-4. Tigers are 6 outs away from advancing to the Super Regional round next weekend at the Box. I guess this coming weekend at the Box against either Kentucky or Indiana. We'll keep you posted. And again, as soon as this game goes final, we kind of shift into post-game mode. We'll just do full-on as people leave in the box, and we'll go full-on post-game as soon as this ends. We'll recap the game. Hopefully, we're recapping the regional and all that stuff. We'll get to it as soon as the game goes final. It was a busy recruiting weekend for Brian Kelly and the football Tigers. Billy Embody from the Bengal Tiger there at On3, good enough to join us for a couple minutes to recap it all. How are you, man?
Doing well, Matt. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Before we kind of dive into the nuance, can you kind of just give us a sense of the recruiting calendar right now and where we are as we move into the summer?
Yeah, this is a sprint for Brian Kelly and his staff right now. You've got official visits, which happen every weekend in June, the first weekend, second weekend, third weekend, fourth weekend, and that 23rd weekend is the last weekend. They're allowed to host official visitors, and then they get one weekend in July, the last one, to host official visitors and unofficial visitors. During this time, they're doing camps as well. They just wrapped up their first defensive line camp last week on Friday. They'll have an elite camp on Wednesday, and then they'll have their O-line, D-line camp and 7-on-7 tournament on Saturday, and then they've got another round of elite camps next weekend. So busy time
is that
for them. Yeah, I know.
Oh
and by the way, they spent the last month and a half on the road recruiting during spring practice.
Yeah, man. That is a sprint is a good way to put it. Let's go to this past weekend with the offensive defensive line camp. I know there were some notable prospects, maybe some offers doled out. Can you kind of give us a recap, a synopsis of the headlines?
Yeah, Jalen Chapman is the one I want to really hone in on here because he's a New Orleans area prospect who earned an offer from the Tigers as a 2025 prospect, and he's now squarely on the radar for LSU. He's one of the top offensive linemen in the state of Louisiana. And, whenever it comes to New Orleans prospects, and you have Frank Wilson on your staff, you have Brad Davis, who's from Louisiana, you have Cortez Hankton. The staff has really done a nice job in New Orleans, and Jalen Chapman earned his offer. And I tell you what, the state is now starting to kind of churn out a little bit more and more on the offensive line for LSU to kind of pick from. We've seen Brad Davis and LSU really see the fruits of that with guys like Emory Jones and Will Campbell and Delance Hurd and Tyree Adams. The state of Louisiana is starting to really do a nice job producing offensive linemen, and Jalen Chapman is the latest to really be the one that I think you've got to circle. A lot of guys come in nationally. You see some offers thrown out. They offered offensive lineman from Alabama, Will Sanders. They had his nickname is Dank Brown, but Dank Brown from Mississippi is a four-star offensive lineman in 2024 who has Louisiana ties. He was on campus for the camp, and who knows, maybe they make a move on him and offer him. But you see some national guys come in and get some well-deserved offers for performing well on both sides of the ball. But really what we saw was Jalen Chapman earn his offer, and that's a big one in the state of Louisiana.
So Chapman getting the offer. Any other notable – you mentioned officials every week during June. Any other notable officials this weekend?
Yes, this weekend was a good trio of prospects that hit campus for official visits. They had four-star defensive back Joshua Lair, who's out of the Houston area. He's a four-star safety. He's plays a little bit of basketball for his team over there, but he's somebody that Texas and Texas A&M are recruiting really hard, and he told me LSU's in his top three after the weekend. Now, Joel Rogers, a local prospect who's a four-star safety, was on campus for an unofficial visit. He's another top safety nationally, and LSU already has two committed. So if we see Rogers jump on board here relatively soon, I could see that safety class being pretty solidified for LSU. Wardell Mack is one of the best defensive backs in Louisiana and just the country overall, and he could play corner, he could play safety. So he's kind of a Swiss Army knife. He's kind of like an in-state JV and Toviano this cycle. He could be one who jumps on board at some point. So that's kind of a little mini dive into what's left at safety, and Lair being the guy who's on campus officially. And then they did have Marcus Maskell on campus, who is kind of under the radar as far as rankings go. We have him right on the cusp of being a four-star prospect. He's got some nice size. He reminds me a little bit of DJ Chester around this time last year, a little bit under the radar, but LSU and Florida are really the ones that we see as battling it out for him. And I think LSU sits in a really good spot to land him. He's out of the Atlanta area, which is kind of another reason why he reminds me of DJ Chester, I guess. But he's got that big size to him, could play along the interior. And Brad Davis has done a really nice job recruiting him. He's got a decision date set for June 19th, and I think right now you got to like where LSU stands.
Did we lose Billy?
Eagles and Cortez Hankton have kind of tag teamed this one. He's four-star wide receiver. LSU and Ohio State are battling.
I'm sorry, Billy, real quick. Sorry, your phone cut out. Who's the four-star wide receiver?
Jeremiah McClellan.
Got it. Okay.
He's out of Christian Brothers College in St. Louis, and LSU and Ohio State are the top two teams for him. He heads to Ohio State this weekend, and we'll see if LSU's visit holds strong there for him. He told me that he was really surprised in a way by LSU and just how well they showed. They moved way up his list, and now we'll see if LSU can kind of hold off the push that Ohio State is going to come with this weekend.
Billy Embody's with us on Twitter at Billy Embody, on 3, the Bengal Tiger. Let's look at the class as a whole right now for 2024 for LSU. They're at on 3. Y'all have them ranked 11th with 16 commits. Is there any idea yet, Billy, or is it too early to tell, just when we talk about numbers, how many this class may be looking to add, considering freshmen and potential portal commits eventually down the line?
You know, that's the really hard part about recruiting these days is I think the number is kind of fluid. depending on how guys see themselves over the course of this season, and then whether or not they make the move to enter the portal after this season, from LSU's end, because that ultimately opens up more spots if we do see some departures. And look, in this day and age, it happens. And so I do think the number is fluid. I think with 16 commits on board right now, you got to think that they're looking at a number that could be around 25 or so from the high school ranks, maybe a little higher. But there's still a good bit of meat on the bone left in Louisiana. They have a lot of top targets still out there who are undecided and are going to officially visit this summer. So it's just if they come up with even 2/3 of their top targets, you're looking at a class that probably inches close to that 25 to 30 mark, and that's just high school. So it is one of those moving numbers, and we always see a prospect or 2 or 3 decommit and head elsewhere, and there's some guys that you circle, that maybe haven't been back to campus in a minute, or maybe aren't showing with their actions that they are as committed as a commitment should be. But we'll kind of see how those go, and see if they have a couple other spots open up. But yeah, it's just they're in a good spot for a number of prospects, and they're also in a battle with some of them too. But they're doing a really nice job on a select group to put themselves in position to sign a class of 25 to 30.
A couple more for you, Billy. One, just sort of functionally, of course, like Brian Poling was in the recruiting coordinator role. He's no longer there. Just when you look at assimilating the board and the whole process, has it changed much at all, or roles changed at all within LSU's sort of recruiting process?
I don't think so too much. I think guys like Will Redmond, J.R. Belton, Jordan Archimo's taking on a different role with more on the NIL side and things like that. But Sherman Wilson, Bobby Barham, there's a bunch of people in that department that have really done a nice job doing a lot of, the groundwork with recruiting players and kind of setting the tone for when assistants really start to ramp up and get involved during the evaluation period and during official visits. And of course, assistants are doing, a good bit of their own recruiting. But those guys are really the ones that, have that ball and just kind of go nonstop. They communicate, they evaluate, and that's really what it comes down to, especially, at the top with Will Redmond, J.R. Belton, Mike Ferrara, guys like that, do a lot of the evaluating and try to piece together that board. That is on them in a sense, and then it kind of goes up to the assistant level, and then coordinators, and then Coach Kelly. And I don't think we see too much as far as that changing, and they're pretty well solidified overall on that front.
He is Billy Embody on 3 the Bengal Tiger. You follow him on Twitter at Billy Embody. One thing's for sure, recruiting never stops, and it certainly is a sprint throughout June and the summer months with camps, etc. We'll keep following along, man. We appreciate a couple of minutes as always.
Appreciate it, Matt. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, bud. We'll see you soon. That's Billy Embody again on Twitter at Billy Embody on 3 the Bengal Tiger. It's after further review. Griffin Herring gets out of the 8th, so we're headed to the 9th. LSU up 12-4 there at Alec Box Stadium. Tigers are 3 outs away from advancing to the Super Regional round. We'll let you know when they punctuate it. We'll sort of flip into post-game mode as soon as LSU puts the finishing touches on this one. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Love telling you about Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Get to Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Man, so humbled. We had our company-wide meeting this morning, our Monday morning meeting, and they shared the good news that Rouse's just a week ago named us here at Guarantee Media their media partner of the year. Our relationship with Rouse's has been exceptional, from Eagle 98.1 game day with Haney and Musso being out there at Rouse's before every LSU game. Of course, remotes that you hear T-Bob do every Friday. Our partner Michelle Southern over at Eagle 98.1 doing the same thing there as well. And the live reads we get to tell you about every single day here. We're just thrilled to be partnered with Rouse's. They've been great to us, and we've loved the relationship with them. And, of course, when you talk about a local Louisiana-owned business, Rouse's is right there, just like Guarantee Media is. More than 60 locations across the Gulf South. Whatever you need, they love to use locally sourced products from this area. It's Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com. Rouse's, this feels like home.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Bayou Ford has $15,000 off plus 0.9% APR for 60 months on all new 22 Ford F-150 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Call home in Baton Rouge. Ah, no matter what you put me on through, gotta send my love down the
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
They're on to the top of the ninth. One on, one out. The one on was a single by Dylan Cruz, who now has pushed his average for the season to .432. So he is 1 percentage point ahead of Rafe Rhymes. So as it stands right now, Dylan Cruz would have the record for the single-season batting average, best single-season batting average in program history, the .431 set by Rafe Rhymes 11 years ago in 2012. The tricky part about that, however, is LSU is far from done playing. Presuming they hang on here, they're up 12-4 with one out in the top of the ninth. Tommy White batting. LSU will have at least 2 games next weekend, potentially 3, and then we hope play a long way through Omaha. So the issue is hardly decided yet with respect to LSU single-season batting average record and Dylan Cruz. So Cruz single, Tommy White walks. So first and second, one out, as we are trying to get to the end of this game and sort of go into a post-game show. Mo, did it hit him or did he walk? Okay, it did not hit him. Okay, it was a walk. So Tigers up 12-4, top 9, one out. Looking to add more here. First and second, one out. Trey Morgan up at the plate with Travinsky and Beloso following. I will find it interesting, as we were talking last hour, who might emerge from this regional as the regional MVP. Because you have a lot of candidates. And Musso pointed out Josh Pearson, which is as good a guess as any. He's got a couple of triples. He's got a homer. Do you have his batting average for the regional? You don't have it? But Pearson, Travinski, Cruz could all be great choices, given the way that they played this week there in the regional. And Trey Morgan just doubled down the line. And this will certainly score Cruz from first. It did not score White. So second and third now, 1 out. It's 13-4 LSU. Trey Morgan doubles down the line. But any of those would be great candidates. If it's Pearson, Travinski, or Dylan Cruz, we'll get the all-regional team whenever this game ends. And we'll look forward to talking about how this regional played out, how LSU has set themselves up going forward for next weekend as well, and keeping an eye on Kentucky and Indiana as they're set to get started in about 40 minutes from right now. But it's after further review. NBA Finals Game 2 was last night. How about the Miami Heat? Hey, Muse, your boy had a money line play on the Miami Heat last night.
Hey, look at this guy.
I'm just going to say, can I get a bell? Can I get a ding? Can I get a ding? Thank you. The Miami Heat team's no joke. Game 1 they lost, but they missed a lot of open looks in Game 1. I said, you know what? That ain't going to happen 2 games in a row. Some of those are going to fall. So your boy had a money line play on the Miami Heat. They made me look good. And, if you were new to the DraftKings Sportsbook app and you had made a $5 bet, you wouldn't even need to have hit on that. Just make the $5 money line bet. A $5, pregame bet. Any pregame bet on the NBA Finals, Nuggets, Heat, at the DraftKings Sportsbook, and they will give you $200 in bonus bets instantly. So if you are brand new, if you've heard about sports betting, thought about sports betting, or if you're betting with another app, why wouldn't you download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use the promo code Baton Rouge, make a $5 bet on the NBA Finals, and they will give you $200 in bonus bets instantly at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Also, all customers, you can take a shot at bigger payouts with the DraftKings stepped-up same-game parlays. You open the app, you got to opt in, place your stepped-up same-game parlay, combining 3 or more bets from any NBA Finals game. The more legs you add, the more you can win with up to a 100% boost. It's at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Get in on the action. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. Again, use the promo code Baton Rouge. New customers, $5 bet, and score $200 in bonus bets instantly only at the DraftKings Sportsbook with the promo code Baton Rouge. Me. Got it. 21 and older, physically present in Louisiana, select parishes only. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Opt-in and 10-plus legs required for 100% boost. Eligibility, wagering, and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms. Licensing partner, Golden Nugget Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-426-2537. So while I was gone, the SEC decided to come to a future football scheduling format with an asterisk. For 1 year. What the hell are these dopes doing? I was sitting at SEC football media days, July of 2021. Almost 2 years ago. I'm sitting there on Radio Row when the news breaks that Texas and Oklahoma are coming into the SEC. Literally had Greg Sankey on my show 5 minutes later. Do you remember that? Sometimes things just work out. Like we had Sankey scheduled to be with us at Radio Row 5 minutes after that news broke. That has been 2 years. 2 years. And these people still cannot agree on a scheduling format. And the most surprising part about this, and by now you know, they're going to do 8 games in 2024, scrapping divisions. We'll play Sankey. This was Sankey at the SEC meetings on what's coming up.
We obviously have the need to make a long-term strategic decision. And while we continue to go through those various considerations, we think about non-conference scheduling, we think about our own conference scheduling, we think about the playoff, we think about bowl eligibility. This emerged really as the right interim step. In a way, with the input from our schools, we're going to plan to honor many of our key rivalries. I think those are obvious, and we'll announce the matchups of the games on the SEC network on June 14th.
So stupid. Incredibly dumb. And we all know what is going on here. Like, we all get it. It's protecting rivalries, it's TV revenue, and it's things like bowl eligibility. Again, if you go to a ninth conference game, you are guaranteeing half of your league another loss, right? You are guaranteeing half of your league another loss. So are you going to make more money on the TV contract? Or what's that going to mean for programs like Kentucky and South Carolina and the Mississippi schools, the bottom feeders that may need that win for bowl eligibility? Like, all of those things at play. I get everybody has their own self-interest. Bama and Tennessee want to preserve their rivalry. Auburn and Georgia want to preserve their rivalry. Blah, 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 all the stupid stuff that none of us actually care about. I get why it went down the way it did. The surprising thing is that Greg Sankey, who is the most influential figure in college sports today, did not have enough clout, pull, influence to sway the votes to get the 9-game schedule done. That's the thing that's most surprising. Because Sankey has proven his ability to do what Mike Slive did. Now, this wasn't always the case with Sankey. Remember, early in Sankey's tenure, you had that disaster scenario with LSU in Florida around Hurricane Matthew, where you had Foley and Joe Oliva publicly fighting and all that stuff. And, like, look at what happened during COVID. Greg Sankey was the one who led the way in college football. He got everybody to fall in line, and boom, the SEC was led the drumbeat of college football. The fact that he couldn't get it done on something so important here is stunning. I know what happened. Like, I know why the teams voted the way they did. Like, when you look at how everyone voted for the 8 games or the 9 games, it's not surprising to see it play out why it did or the way that it did. You might be surprised that Georgia and Florida voted for a 9-game. I'm not. You want to know why? Because they each play their biggest game of the year at a neutral site. A 9th game allows them that other home game. Why do you think Florida likes the LSU series? Because it guarantees them a big gate every other year because the biggest game they play is a neutral site. I'm not surprised to see Georgia and Florida vote for a 9-game schedule along with LSU. But what do you, like, when you look at every other team in the league, you understand their motives. So it's just disgraceful, man. Like, the 8-game schedule is not good for the fans. It's not good for the game of college football. It's not good for the whole, but it allows everyone to serve their own personal interest. And the SEC is going to have to, in their 1 year in 2024 with the 8-game schedule, do what, unfortunately, we're expecting them to do, which is make sure that in a single-year schedule, Alabama plays Tennessee, Auburn, and LSU. And Georgia plays Florida and Auburn in their 1 year of the schedule one-off. So it's maddening, it's frustrating, it's annoying, it's all of those things because you have the premier conference in intercollegiate athletics that is doing something that continues to pave the way, adding Texas and Oklahoma, continuing to expand, continuing to add these big brands, has the opportunity to provide a better product for its fans, for the game of college football, in a year where the college football playoff is expanding. And so, yeah, you're going to have teams lose more, but so what? Look at the schedule they're going to play, and it's going to play out. But Greg Sankey said this after the fact. He said, talking about money, he said, money follows, it doesn't lead. Meaning money wasn't the decision, wasn't the reason for the decision. Basically meaning we'll make a decision and the money will follow with what we do. That's baloney. It's just complete crap. Money is the reason why you made this decision. Money is the reason why each school individually made this decision and voted the way that they did. The ones that voted for 8 games, their own selfish reasons. If ESPN had come to the table and renegotiated a deal that was acceptable for the addition of Texas and Oklahoma and adding a 9th game, there would be a 9th game. But ESPN wasn't willing to negotiate that. Each school individually that was considering what it would mean to play another road game or take another loss looked at their financial bottom line and were like, we don't like what that means. So they voted selfishly. Every school voted selfishly. And the product as a whole is what suffers because of it. So you'll get Texas and Texas A&M in 2024. You'll get Florida, Georgia. You'll get Bama, Tennessee. You'll get the Iron Bowl. You'll get LSU, Alabama. You'll get all those things. But the biggest hypocrite of all this is Nick Saban. Nick Saban's the one that's banged the drum forever about going to 9 games or playing all Power 5 games. And Alabama voted for 8 games because Nick saw what their 9-game SEC schedule would include. Because it would include, as permanents, LSU, Tennessee, Auburn. And by far, that would be the 3 most difficult permanent opponents. And so they went, not down with that. 8. Everyone voted in their own selfish self-interest. And it's atrocious. It's sad. It's atrocious. Hopefully it changes for 2025. I'm not sure I have tremendous confidence in that or how they make that work. But something's got to give if they do. And it's going to be, and what will give is one of the traditional rivalries. And like I've said for a long time, as much as they want to play Alabama, LSU every single year, if what you're going to do is kowtow to Nick Saban and Alabama to make a schedule more equitable, and you want to keep Alabama, Auburn, Alabama, Tennessee, then Alabama, LSU is the one that has to go every year. And it doesn't look like they're willing to do that. If they're not, you're going to stick at 8 games. Oh, my God. What's going on here? Did he hit him or did he throw it over his head?
No, that hit him. That looked like it hit him in the back of the, or they're going to say it didn't. Wow.
I was going to say, then that's a dead ball. Guy can't go to third. Yeah, it just went over his head. All right, so they're in the bottom of the 9th. LSU's up 13-5. Gavin Guidry's in to replace Griffin Herring. There's already a run in here in the 9th. Now there's a runner on third with 1 out, and Guidry just threw a ball over the he threw a breaking ball over the batter's head.
That one was better. I think that's what he had in mind on the first one. Just a snapdragon low and away. Yeah.
Just missed it by about 6 feet.
You know, it happens sometimes.
Sometimes it does.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to grab a break, and hopefully when we come back from this break, this game will be over, and we'll be able to shift into post-game mode, as I've been telling you we were going to do for 90 minutes, but they just don't seem to want to end this game. And Muse, even in the 7th, when they went boom, 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 and in their 8th, they went boom, boom, boom. We're like, hey, I'm going to finish it. No, now we're going to get slogged along here in the bottom of the 9th in a 13-5 game.
Beavs aren't going quietly, man. They're not going quietly.
Whatever. Hey, what was the guy you had on? From where was the website?
Oh, Beaver's Edge. Brendan Slaughter. He was good.
Brendan Slaughter. Shout out Brendan Slaughter from Beaver's Edge.
Yeah.
Thank God T-Bob didn't interview him. I'd be fielding FCC fine complaints.
Yes.
As the program director of the station. Had T-Bob interviewed the guy from Beaver's Edge. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001. Oh, God. Please get up. Please get up. Sorry. Dylan Cruz just went diving for a ball in center, and that looked very bad how he fell. 752-0001 for River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. Sorry, I'm a little shaken after having seen that. Was that an inside the park home run? Yeah, that's an inside the park home run. Gavin Guidry just gave up a two-run inside the park home run. All this time was supposed to be allocated to River City's 1 Hour Air, and I just saw one of the more incredible things that you'd ever see at a baseball game, so my apologies for that. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with a giant clock on the side. We have officially entered summer, y'all. It is hot outside. So if your AC isn't keeping up, call River City's 1 Hour Air at 752-0001. Their technicians will come out and make sure that you are in tip-top shape for the summer months. It's River City's 1 Hour Air, 752-0001.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Turn my music high, 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 yeah. You don't know what you're doing. Sure I do. I'm from the streets where the hood can swallow on me. Bullets will follow on me. There's so much that you could run the slalom. And cops comb this top to bottom. They say that we are prone to violence, but it's home sweet home. With personalities clashing, chrome meets chrome. Prices up and down like this Wall Street.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded. because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, it has gone final at the box. LSU wins the Baton Rouge Regional. They beat Oregon State 13-7. Tigers with 13 runs on 19 hits. Oregon State was scrappy. They wouldn't go quietly. And, man, they certainly had an unenviable task whenever they had to follow up the loss to LSU yesterday by coming back, playing a game past midnight, turning around and starting today at 1 o'clock Central Time against a rested LSU team and Oregon State with a depleted team and most notably a depleted pitching staff when they entered this regional with a depleted pitching staff. But that's not what matters. What matters is LSU went out and got it done. Riley Cooper started the game for LSU, gave the Tigers 3 2/3. Ackenhausen came in, got the final out of the fourth inning. Griffin Herring was really good in relief, gave the Tigers 3 solid innings of relief. He does, in fact, notch the win for Griffin Herring. 2 runs on 3 hits, struck out 4, walked just 1. So Griffin Herring was very good following Nate Ackenhausen. And then Gavin Guidry came in and finished the game, recording the final 2 outs there of the ball game. By the way, the Griffin Herring 2 runs, one of those would have been the run that scored on the inside the park home run in the 9th, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so really Herring, well, he was responsible for the runner, but Herring really gave up 1 run there in his 3 innings of relief. So solid outing from the LSU bullpen and really piecing it together the way they did today against Oregon State, which, not to spend a tremendous amount of time on Oregon State here, but they used Larson, Fair, Keljo, Lattery, Bozevert, Hutchison, Mejia, and Quinn. They used 8 pitchers today to try to get through this. It just goes to show you how difficult, and the thing that we talked about, and we've talked about with this team for so long, how difficult it is and would be to advance through the losers bracket. There are teams that are able to do it. There are teams that are deep enough in their pitching staff that can cobble it together and find a way through it. For LSU, I don't know how feasible that was going to be for LSU here or how feasible it would be for LSU in Omaha. We're going to spend the rest of the show essentially turning this into a de facto post-game show, so would love your interaction. Feel free to join us. You can email us. You can tweet us at Matt Moscona. You can jump in the
Hey, Twitter world.
Thank you, Juice. You can jump in the Byford YouTube chat on the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. Or you can always text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. We'll get a lot of your reaction to what just transpired. But LSU beats Oregon State. They do so sweeping through the Baton Rouge Regional in an unconventional manner. And what I'll say is we'll talk a lot about what transpired, certainly as we move through the rest of the show. You know, through what the decision Jay Johnson made to start Paul Skeens against Tulane, battling through the weather delays and coming back and winning the marble game on Sunday, and coming out today and swinging a hot bat and doing what you had to do to get this win. And most notably even making it through this entire regional without even having to use Javen Coleman at any point, who has arguably been your number 3 guy. So Thatcher Hurd has certainly emerged into an incredible role in this team, but a more versatile out-getter. But you didn't even have to use Javen Coleman. He was warming today. So we'll wait on the all regional teams to be announced. We'll wait on the MVP. As soon as we get that, we'll certainly talk about it and pass along, and we'll start to talk about what next weekend is going to look like for LSU. But I think what really? Okay. Well, we got some breaking news. Noted college baseball reporter Pete Thamel. What?
Paul showed it to me, and I was like, is that Pete Thamel?
Pete Thamel is breaking news on college baseball?
Brave new world, Matt. It's a brave new world.
Like, this is literally only one of those things where clearly Pete Thamel knows somebody high up at Georgia. Anyway, Georgia fired Scott Strickland, their baseball coach, after their season came to an end. And Pete Thamel is reporting Georgia is finalizing a deal to make LSU pitching coach Wes Johnson their new head coach. I mean, literally, as soon as the final out was recorded of this is 4 minutes ago. As soon as the final out was recorded, Thamel pushed send on the tweet. So it looks like when LSU season ends, Wes Johnson's going to leave LSU, and for the third time in as many seasons, Jay Johnson will have a new pitching coach. Of course, Jason Kelly was the pitching coach last year, got the head coaching job at Washington. Wes Johnson comes to LSU. Now it looks like he's headed to Georgia to be the head coach there. And now Jay Johnson will be in the market for a new head coach, a new pitching coach. One quick reaction, because I'm just looking at some of the comments on the tweet there. And some of y'all are like, deuces, peace out, whatever. I just want to point out that for all of the criticism that many in the LSU fan base have given the LSU pitching staff this year, like, there's a few things that we have to remember, okay? Number one, as great as Paul Skeens was at Air Force, he wasn't this Paul Skeens. Right? Wes Johnson deserves credit for that. Not all of it. We talked about it. A big part of it is Paul Skeens didn't have to go through an Air Force routine schedule. He wasn't hitting and pitching. Had a lot of the technology, pitching lab. A lot of reasons that helped him accelerate, but one of them is Wes Johnson. That's one. Two, still right now, after Skeens, your two best pitchers statistically are Garrett Edwards, Chase Shores. Edwards was not guaranteed a roster spot this year, and Shores is a true freshman. Both of those dudes are really good. You lost them to injury. Grant Taylor was going to be your number 2 guy to start the season. You didn't get a single pitch out of him this year because he tore his UCL, went to Tommy John. How they built the bridge as they crossed it this year with the pitching staff is pretty incredible. If they didn't lose Grant Taylor, Chase Shores, Garrett Edwards, how different does this season look? Gavin Guidry didn't pick up a baseball and start throwing until the season started. I mean, he was all in fall ball focusing on being an infielder. And then ultimately they had injuries like, hey, maybe we need to give pitching a try. and turned him into a guy that's really like your closer now. So Georgia wouldn't be hiring Wes Johnson if he was a schmuck. He wouldn't do, like, and his record is proven, from Mississippi State to being with Dave Van Horn at Arkansas to going to Minnesota Twins, now with LSU. We'll see if he can recruit and if he's going to be good enough to be a head coach. There's a lot of things that go into being a head coach that aren't factors of being a pitching coach. But he deserves a lot more credit for the good that he's been able to do this year with this pitching staff than a lot of people who have given them grief deserve. So, again, if you're just jumping aboard and you missed it, as soon as that game went final, Pete Thamel pushed send on the tweet. Wes Johnson is going to be the new head baseball coach at Georgia. I would presume he will stay with LSU through the remainder of the season, through the Super Regional round in Omaha, and then go and become Georgia's head coach. Okay, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break, y'all. We'll come back. Muse will do Tigers and the Pros. Again, we're sort of shifting here today and turning the rest of the show into a de facto regional postgame show. LSU beats Oregon State 13-7. Tigers advance to the Supers. They'll play the winner of tonight's game between Kentucky and Indiana. We'll get word on when that Super Regional schedule will start as well. It's AFR.
AFR.
Buying or selling, commercial or residential. When you think real estate, think Darren James. I had a really cool conversation today with a gentleman named Rusty who listens to AFR. Rusty Clark is his name, as a matter of fact. Shout out Rusty. I know he's listening right now. But listens to AFR, heard me talk about Darren James. Rusty's wife, unfortunately, became ill and passed. Had to sell the home they lived in and called Darren James because he heard me talk about it forever. Called Darren and was thrilled with the job Darren did. The comfort, the care, the personal touch, the results. Darren took care of all of it. He did it for Rusty. He's done it for me. He can do it for you as well. If you need to sell your home, if you're buying or selling a home, you want to take the stress out of that process, you need Darren James. Look online, agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off new 22 Ram 1500 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Relentless reporting gets results.
I'm never going to stop until we get the answers you need.
Uncovering more as the powerful try to cover things up.
What happens in the dark will always come to light.
Founding new principles and practices for the state of Louisiana.
Chief Investigative Reporter Chris Nakamoto.
Chris Nakamoto and the Investigative Unit. Recipients of Columbia University's prestigious DuPont Award.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart...
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2. It's final out at the box. Tigers 13-7 winners. They win the Baton Rouge Regional, but we've got parallel leading storylines right now as Pete Thamel has just reported that LSU pitching coach Wes Johnson is taking the Georgia head coaching job. So LSU is going to be in the market, or is in the market for a new pitching coach as soon as this season ends. We'll continue to talk about all that. Right now, though, Musso has Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
All right, let's start with Major League Baseball action from last night. Jake Fraley scored the Reds' only run of the game. It was a home run, solo shot, 1 for 4 on the day for Fraley. The home run was his 7th of the season. The RBI, he subsequently got his 37th of the year to go along with the 257 average. Solid year so far for Fraley. Alex Bregman had a whale of a weekend against the Los Angeles Angels. Yesterday capped it off with a 2-for-4 day, couple singles, had a grand slam in the Astros' victory on Saturday night. Astros would fall 2-1 to the Angels. Alex Lang, tough one for our guy last night. Took the loss, first of the season, so now 3-1. Pitched a third of an inning, gave up 2 hits and 4 earned. Threw 23 pitches, 10 of them across for a strike. Not the outing we've consistently seen from Lang, but looking for him to bounce back, now 3-1 on the year. Major League Baseball action tonight. Lang might have a shot, but he's got to do it against the Philadelphia Phillies, who will start Aaron Nola. Nola looking to... There it is. Yep. Looking for win number 5 on the year. The ERA at 4.70. 65 punch-outs in 74 2/3 innings pitched for Nola. Not the normal numbers I think we're used to seeing from him, but been a slower start for him in a contract year. He'll look to get back on track tonight. Golf from the weekend. Sam Burns, top 20 at the Memorial. Shot even par. Nice finish in a really nice field. Did end up seven shots off the pace that he eventually won in a playoff. Ben Taylor, of course, missed the cut over the weekend at Jack's Place. That is Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Gentlemen, if you screwed it up on Mother's Day, get it right. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Or ladies, you want to get that perfect gift for the man in your life for Father's Day, Lee Michaels can help as well. Where Baton Rouge and all of Louisiana has gone to get engaged for 40 years. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry with 2 locations in Baton Rouge, corporate and Bocage. And in the Mall of Louisiana, 9 locations in all, including Lafayette, New Orleans, Shreveport. Check them out, lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. This is how it sounded when LSU polished off the Baton Rouge Regional just minutes ago. Well, thought that's how it sounded. And it's not how it sounded. Oh, okay. Let's rewind it, Muse. Here we go. This is how it sounded when LSU won the Baton Rouge Regional just minutes ago.
Swing and a miss, and this one is over. LSU has done it. They have just won their 23rd NCAA Regional.
It was Gavin Guidry on the bump as he got a swing and a miss to end the game, and LSU beats Oregon State and advances to the Super Regional round, which will be at Alex Box Stadium. A couple things we're waiting on. Number one is the Super Regional schedule announcement, which we'll talk about here in a second. And number two, of course, is the all-regional team. We were talking about it earlier today if you're just jumping aboard with us. There's some guys who we know are going to be on the all-regional team. Hayden Travinsky, Josh Pearson, Dylan Cruz. One of those three also is likely to be the regional MVP. Which of them earns that distinction will be very interesting to see. We'll wait on that, as that should come out here quickly as the media voting is tallied and they release that. As far as super regional schedule, like here's what I know. I'll just disclose at this point what I know. The NCAA makes those determinations after the regional field is all of the regionals are done, and the super regionals are either Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Saturday, Sunday, Monday. The whispers last week, again, nothing official, but the whispers last week was that Baton Rouge would be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday regional. With both the Baton Rouge and Lexington regionals going to Monday, might that change? Don't know. We'll see. But what we were told last week is that's what they were leaning. We should get that answer pretty soon, though. All right, hour 3 next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com, Michelli.com. Great to be back in studio. Great to be back in the host chair. And great to be telling you about our friends again at Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Hey, we're moving into the summer months. And honestly, the summer months are when a lot of people start looking for jobs. Kids are out of school. Maybe it's time to be mobile, if that's what the case may be. Michelli Weighing and Measurement, that could be the career opportunity that you're waiting for. Instead of having a job, how about a career? Michelli Weighing and Measurement. If you go to the website and you hit the careers tab right there at the top, you'll see how you can start your career with an innovative company that's primed for growth. Yes, in Louisiana, but 30 offices now across 11 different states from sea to shining sea. No matter where that office may be, if you want to work at Michelli Weighing and Measurement, you can apply right now at Michelli.com. They have a great career program for veterans as well. Learn more at Michelli.com.
There it is, the extra mile on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The NFL is investigating an Indianapolis Colts player for possible violations of the league's gambling policy. News follows a report by SportsHandle.com, which cited an investigation into a Colts player's pervasive betting, including wagers placed on his own team. The player not named in the report. In April, the NFL suspended 5 players for gambling policy violations. The Bills added another veteran presence to their pass rush group as they continue to work on their defensive line. Agreed with former Rams linebacker Leonard Floyd on a 1-year deal. ESPN NFL insider Jeremy Fowler.
There are several good free agent pass rushers that were on the market, but Floyd was considered by some teams to be the top guy. He's got at least 9 sacks in each of the last 3 years. And so the Bills can now pair Floyd with Greg Rousseau, their young pass rusher, and Von Miller. Those two were together with the LA Rams.
Miller coming off a major right ACL injury. His availability for the start of the season is in question. Number 1 seed Oklahoma defeated number 9 Stanford 4-2, advanced to the Women's College World Series Finals. The Sooners will take on either Florida State or Tennessee for the national championship.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Make sure your family is well taken care of with life insurance. Protect your phones, laptops, and more with electronic device insurance, and cover your furry friends with pet health insurance.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
All right, hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
You're a loser,
Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. LSU is the Baton Rouge regional champion. It happened by the hardest because of a lot of weather delays and, quite honestly, some debatable decisions with starting pitching, which we'll delve into. But LSU beats Oregon State today to sweep the regional. LSU wins 13-7. And Tigers punched their ticket through to the Baton Rouge Regional. Some of you just on the text line told me that on the LSU broadcast, that LSU, or maybe Chris Blair announced on the LSU broadcast that the Tigers will be playing on Friday. Until I see something official from the NCAA, I'm not willing to say that. What I said last hour, and I'll say here, is last week we were told that was the likelihood. The probability was that LSU, the Baton Rouge Super Regional, should LSU advance, would start on Friday. Super Regionals can be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And I know that with LSU playing today and Kentucky, Indiana just about to start, both teams playing on Monday, you would think, well, why wouldn't they move it to Saturday, right? If you're playing Monday, it's a quick turnaround. I'll remind you, in 2014, LSU lost their home regional to Houston. Remember, LSU was in the winner's bracket. Houston came back and beat LSU twice. Houston played that Game 7 on Monday, won it, ended up playing Texas in the Super Regional in Austin, and the NCAA scheduled that for a Friday start. So Houston played Monday in Baton Rouge, went home, had essentially Tuesday, traveled to Austin, and played on Friday against Texas. So a 3-day break between your regional Game 7 and your Super Regional. So the NCAA is going to do what they feel is best for TV partners and matchups and all that sort of stuff, and not necessarily just based on when your regional ended. So I know a lot of people are assuming LSU would play on Monday, and we haven't had it formally or officially yet, but when we do, we'll certainly pass it along and let you know. Yeah, I'll tell you this. I got a couple of things I want to get to as far as takeaways here, and we'll get your reaction. So please fire away with what you got. Email us, tweet us, text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400. We'll get to a lot of your text and all, your reaction to LSU winning this Baton Rouge regional. Of course, most importantly, I'm glad LSU won this game and won this regional because they're advancing. Selfishly, I always say I would love for LSU baseball to get me through June, because if LSU baseball gets us through June, that means we got 2 weeks in July. LSU is at SEC Football Media Days mid-July. A week later, Saints report. A week after that, LSU football reports for fall camp, and a rinse and repeat. As an LSU fan, of course, I want them to win all the time, and it's so much more fun when they do. But quite honestly, as a parenthetically to all of that, I'm glad LSU won this regional so we never have to have the Paul Skeens discussion. Because if LSU had lost this regional and Jay Johnson had burned Paul Skeens against a 40-loss team, he would have never heard the end of it. I wasn't here on Friday, so I didn't get to speak my piece on it. Said I did tweet about it, and I talked about it on social media and stuff like that. It was a controversial decision. It was an unnecessary risk, and what I would say, it was an unconventional decision to start Paul Skeens. I'm not the only one that said it. I mean, Hannah Griff was the only person in this town who's probably watched more LSU baseball over the last 30 years, other than like Bill Franquez and Skip Bertman, is Charles Hannah Griff. He was live on air when the decision happened, and he said, and I quote, "I had a nightmare about this last night." He was befuddled. Hunt, Musso, two guys who I watch a ton of baseball. They made me look like a novice as much as they watch and they're into this stuff. Both of them on air on Friday disagreed with the decision. Chris Demui, former Tiger, disagreed with it. Mikey Matuk on Twitter, former Tiger, disagreed with it. Skip Bertman, Paul Maneri, two former LSU coaches who were on live at lunch with Otten Handy last week, disagreed. Like, they both said start Thatcher Hurd. Again, it's Jay, his team, he had his reasoning. A lot of you said, well, he was proved right because of the weather. If Jay Johnson last Friday had said, after LSU beat Tulane, hey, look, the weather was bad all weekend. We didn't want to have happen what happened against South Carolina, so we said we need to make sure we get a full outing by Paul, so we started him today because it was the best weather day, and we wanted to set us off on a good foot. Okay, I could live with that. That's not what he said. He took a risk. Ultimately, LSU managed to win Game 2 behind Ty Floyd and Thatcher Hurd, which I want to talk about in a second, and so we never have to have this conversation again. LSU sets up now to go win a Super Regional with Paul Skeens, Ty Floyd, Thatcher Hurd, all ready to roll, and find a way to win a weekend at the box, and then you're in Omaha, and whoever it is that you play in Omaha, provided you get there, they got to handle Paul Skeens in the opener in Omaha, and I love LSU's opportunity to move through the winner's bracket with Skeens on the bump, because why wouldn't you? Maybe the biggest story of this regional, coming out of the regional, is going to be Thatcher Hurd. And we're going to talk about a lot. We'll talk about the offense, some of the guys who stepped up and had huge performances. But look at the position Thatcher Hurd was in. You're in the marble game. You didn't get to play it on Saturday. You start the game on Sunday, and then it gets delayed in the third inning, the middle of the third. Ty Floyd's at 71 pitches. He's done. And now Thatcher Hurd has to go and say, hey, man, need you to go eat up this game and be a dude. And he was awesome. Thatcher Hurd was absolutely sensational against Oregon State coming out of the bullpen after the delay, 5 innings pitched, 4 runs on 7 hits, struck out 12, walked 3. Thatcher Hurd recorded 15 outs. 12 of them were via the strikeout. There was a lot of heroics offensively when Oregon State went up 3-0. Dylan Cruz hit a 2-run bomb. He answered. The back-to-back homers by Travinsky and Beloso. When Oregon State answered with their own 2-run bomb to tie it, boom, Tigers came right back. Braden Joubert with the bomb to win it. It was awesome. There was so much good offensively that happened, and all the things, the hitting in the clutch that some of y'all have harped on for a while now, which, I mean, we can talk about that as well. But mostly what you had to have happen were guys on the mound emerge and be dudes. You do not win in the postseason without performances like that. I'll go back to 2000. Trey Hodges. Trey Hodges had some injuries, was up and down all year. You get to Omaha, boom. Dude became the College World Series most outstanding player. 2009. Chad Jones's emergence in 2009 was critical throughout that late season run and obviously the run to the national championship. You got to have guys emerge to be able to win a national championship. 1993, Brett Laxton sets a record with 15 strikeouts in the national championship game. It's incredible. You got to have performances like that. Not saying record-setting performances, but some performances that are unexpected to be able to push your way through to a national championship. 2017, Caleb Gilbert. After Eric Walker blows out, Caleb Gilbert was massive for that team. Beat Oregon State. Put you on track to go to the championship series. Thatcher Hurd might be that guy. And I want to remind you this. The Thursday before this season started, before LSU played its first game, the day before LSU played its first game of the season, Jay Johnson said this about Thatcher Hurd.
For sure. I mean, as a matter of fact, I'd go as far as saying for us to be the best team that we need to be, then, he needs to figure into that starting mix, and that probably will help.
For us to be the best team we're going to be, he needs to figure into that starting mix. Well, here you are. Later, in the middle of the Tennessee series, which you all remember that series here in Baton Rouge, he reiterated the point.
He certainly has the stuff to do it. He'll probably pitch on Tuesday in some capacity, only threw 21 or 22 pitches, and we need to get him back out there because if we're going to accomplish the things that we want to as this team, then he's got to be a part of this in a big way.
Jay Johnson said that 3 months ago. If we're going to accomplish the things we want to accomplish, he's going to have to be a part of this in a big way. Well, here you are. Season on the line, marble game, other regional. Ty Floyd scratched after 3 innings because the rain comes through. You got to have somebody go eat up innings and be a dude. Thatcher Hurd takes the ball and shoves for 5 innings, striking out 12. Awesome. That's one of those types of performances that you look back at whatever the season becomes, and hopefully it ends with a dog pile in Nebraska here in a month, in 4 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, whatever it is, 3 weeks from now. And you're looking back on Thatcher Hurd against Oregon State. It's that kind of performance. And then, of course, today, bats exploded. You had a really good start from Riley Cooper, got you off to a good start, and then you just passed, they just kept passing the baton. And, as the LSU bullpen struggled this year, and I'm not denying that happened, okay? There were low moments, man. Blowing a 9-run lead against Mississippi State, the worst team in the conference at home. Like, that's atrocious. There were bad moments. Okay? But the reality about postseason baseball also is, generally speaking, you're going to lean on 6 or 7 guys. Skip used to always say that. By the time you get to the postseason, there's probably about 6 or 7 guys you're going to lean on. And LSU has enough of those guys who have been really good at times this year to make it through this postseason. Paul Skeens, Ty Floyd, Thatcher Hurd at the top of the list, Nate Ackenhausen, Griffin Herring, Gavin Guidry, Riley Cooper. That's not even to mention Javen Coleman. I just listed 8. 8 guys that you feel like you can give them the ball and they can go get you outs. Now, it may not be everyone's day on a given day, but you have the guys to do it who, at their best on a given day, are more than capable of winning a national championship. And especially behind that offense we saw today, which banged out 13 runs on 19 hits. Value of playing through the winner's bracket, which this LSU team's got to do. They did it this weekend at the box. Obviously, next weekend, just the best 2 out of 3. And when you have Paul Skeens, you're going to be in an advantageous situation no matter what. And then, provided you get to Omaha, it's going to be the same thing. This team isn't going to be deep enough to play its way through a loser's bracket, but it's good enough to continue through a winner's bracket. Okay, it's After Further Review. Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back. We'll continue with some takeaways. We talked about the pitching. I want to talk about the offense as well. And I'll get to a lot of your texts, emails, tweets, comments in the Buy Forward YouTube chat if you want to jump aboard. De facto post-game show here. LSU beats Oregon State. They win the Baton Rouge Regional and advance to Supers coming up this weekend. Okay, it's After Further Review. Stick around.
AFR.
Man, I love telling you about our friends over at New Orleans Flooring. Awesome people, and they do great work. Remember, at New Orleans Flooring, because they keep more than 1 million square foot of flooring in stock, which is incredible, by the way, because they have it in stock, you could literally go to New Orleans Flooring today. Go see Terrell, go see Big Sean. You can go by there today. Airline Highway in Prairieville. Go by New Orleans Flooring. You could buy your flooring today, and they could install it tomorrow. They literally could do that. Now, most people aren't ready because you have to move furniture and get rooms ready and all, but they literally could do that. You could buy today, they could install tomorrow. It's New Orleans Flooring. And best of all, aside from the great customer service, all the options, remember, these are the same flooring products that you could get at any other flooring store, except for they have a good, better, and best option, except for the fact that they have it in stock. And because they keep it in stock, they cut out the middleman and they pass the savings along to you. It's New Orleans Flooring. Metairie and Prairieville, NOLAflooring.com, NOLAflooring.com.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Call in Baton Rouge. I'm ready, what you put me on through. Gotta send my love down the
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast office products.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Hey, it's Matt Musso. Join me Monday through Friday for your daily update on LSU baseball with Musso at the Box, presented by New Orleans.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Get his question again. As Dylan Cruz is probably going to answer this for us.
Oh my gosh. He hit that off the Tony Chassery sign. Just when you were about to ask me a question
about Dylan Cruz. Will he go down as the greatest Tiger of all time?
Dave Neal and Ben McDonald on the call there on ESPN+. Dylan Cruz homer today, his second homer of the Baton Rouge Regional. Dylan Cruz named the Baton Rouge Regional's most outstanding player. He was 8 of 13 for the Regional, which my calculator helped me. I couldn't have done this alone, which comes out to 615.
That plays.
It's 6:15.
That's okay. That's a good day at the yard, I guess.
8 of 13, so he hit 6 of 15. 8 of 13, so he hit 615 with 2 homers, 5 RBI, 3 walks. The incredible Dylan Cruz. Dave Neal asked the question there: is he the best player ever to play at LSU? Yes, he is. He is certainly the best 5-tool player that has ever come through this program. And Muse and I were talking. If you weren't here during the game, as we were sort of doing the show, keeping an eye on the game as we were moving through it, we were kind of looking and saying, you know, are people actually interested in Dylan Cruz's chase for Rafe Rhymes' single season hitting record? So Rafe set the record back in 2012. He hit 431. And until a month ago, it looked like Dylan Cruz wasn't just going to break that record, he was going to obliterate it. I mean, he was flirting with 500. And then he had that 2 for 22 stretch, which dipped him below 431. And now with this weekend, Dylan Cruz has increased his average to 432. So he is 1 point ahead of Rafe Rhymes, but still with more baseball to play. At least 2 games, possibly 3 this weekend, and hopefully, knock on Formica, a trip to the College World Series as well. So the amazing Dylan Cruz continues to be the best player that we've ever seen put on that jersey. And I know we've said this before. It just is worth saying again right now. Dylan Cruz is in his 3rd year in Baton Rouge. They played a regional at Oregon and a super regional in Knoxville. Last year, they played the regional in Hattiesburg. It would have been a damn crime if Dylan Cruz would have played his entire LSU career without playing a postseason game at Alex Box Stadium. So I'm glad that he got to experience that and that fans got to see it and got to see him be the regional's most outstanding player, where he was incredible. Now, my hope is this crappy weather gets the hell out of here and we can have pristine weather and games that start on time without delays for the super regionals, with a chance to go to Omaha, where you have that emotion where every fan hangs on every pitch, which we all have experienced and love. And hopefully we get to see Dylan Cruz and Paul Skeens do that this weekend out at Alex Box Stadium. All right, it is after further review. We'll get to tons of reaction, more reaction to the Baton Rouge Regional, not just Dylan Cruz, but I want to talk about some of the other offensive numbers. Let me remind you quickly about Traction Sports. TractionSports.com. Summer is here, and the Traction Baseball summer camps have started, but it's not too late to get your son or daughter enrolled in the Traction Baseball summer camps, because they have camps every week throughout the summer. So maybe it's not every week. Maybe it's a week or 2 weeks throughout the summer where you want to send your son or daughter to go learn baseball, just have something fun to do with their friends. TractionSports.com to learn more. TractionSports.com to learn more or to register for Traction Baseball Summer Camps, which started this week over at Traction. TractionSports.com, again, and full and half-day options are available. So if you're going to work and you need something for your kiddo to do, Traction Baseball Summer Camps are an awesome option. TractionSports.com. Traction, where champions are made. So it wasn't just Dylan Cruz who was amazing this weekend. Trey Morgan was 2 for 6 today. But the guys who we've seen, the other guy who we've kind of saw slump a little bit through this regional was Tommy White. He was 1 for 5 today, struck out a couple of times. Muse, I know you had it. Please tell me, I asked you for this earlier, Tommy White's stat line for the regional?
With the 1 for 5 today, he ended up 3 for 14, which comes out to 214. A 214 average, 2 RBI.
For the regional.
Regional.
Over 3 games. So, and listen, to be fair also, tell me if I'm missing any, but Tommy White did hit some balls hard. Against Tulane, he blistered one to the track in the first inning. I think it was in the first inning of the game against Tulane.
Well, he got a single in the first inning.
So he got a single.
Yeah. He followed Cruz with you had first and second, nobody out, and Morgan hit into double play.
That's right. Maybe it was later in that game. I'm trying to remember. It's all blended together. He hit one to the track. In this game, he blistered one down the third baseline. He did get a single today the opposite way.
Yep,
today.
scored 2.
That was a big breakthrough for him. But I think what we'll probably remember about White in this regional are a couple of pretty pronounced strikeouts. 2 of them against the first Oregon State game. One of them was at the logo on his cap or his batting helmet. And then today, swinging at a couple of bad pitches. I think, listen, Tommy White's a great hitter. I don't think Tommy White's in a slump. I think what you saw with Tommy White was something that is uncharacteristic of a guy who has been completely within himself this entire season, which is he was swinging at bad pitches today, which we've seldom seen. I mean, the game on Sunday where you've got the bases loaded and 1 out, all you got to do is put the ball in the air to the outfield, which for Tommy White, it's child's play. This guy rarely strikes out. And he swung at the ball above his helmet. I know this is kind of cliche, and I don't mean for it to sound that way, but it's true. Like, I get it. Tommy White was playing at NC State a year ago. NC State ain't an LSU. It ain't LSU. It's not regional play at the box. And I think that was a guy who just allowed the moment to just get the best of him. That's okay. Like, Tommy White's not in a slump. I mean, he's not like Tommy White's phenomenal. It's, clear the mechanism sort of thing. Just take a deep breath, relax, be within yourself. And I think you'll be better next weekend for it. Just like when Dylan Cruz went through his 2 for 22, like, it's baseball. Everybody goes through that. I mean, the greatest hitters in the world, you are going to go through a stretch like that. Even when you hit the ball hard, it just doesn't find grass. It's why you have an average. It's why you play so many games and you have such a large sample, you keep an average. I mean, if you had looked at Dylan Cruz in that 2 for 22, and that's all you knew about Dylan Cruz, you'd think, man, he's not very good. Who's this guy? That's the guy they're talking about being the number 1 pick in the draft? But when you pull back the 10,000-foot view, you extrapolate 60 games he's played, and you go, the guy's hitting 430. You get it. 432 to be exact. You get it. He's sensational. Same with Tommy White. Tommy White's going to be fine. The other thing that I think bears mentioning is the job Josh Pearson has done. And it's a major, major hat tip to Jay Johnson for that recognition. Because they had really gotten comfortable in a place with this lineup where Morgan was in left, Joe Bear was in right, Beloso was playing first, and they were platooning at catcher, and they were basically DHing Travinsky. And when they would catch Milazzo. But at some point, Jay Johnson made the determination that he wanted to get Josh Pearson back in the lineup, in the everyday lineup. And Pearson's one of those guys that was so good a year ago as a freshman. You know he has the ability. But when he got his opportunities earlier this year, he struggled. And when Braden Joubert got his opportunities, he did exceptionally well, and it just warranted more playing time. Well, I don't know if it was something that Jay saw in practice or had a hunch or liked a matchup or whatever the case may be. But, Josh Pearson's emergence has been pivotal for this team. As a matter of fact, after the game yesterday, Jay Johnson did talk about Josh Pearson's emergence here down the stretch.
Yeah, I really trust Josh to take the type of at-bats that we need, and this time of year is just about maturity, and he shows a lot of that. I think he's way overperformed his season from a numbers standpoint, but if you dig into the contribution and some of our better performances and wins, you can kind of find a common thread, with him in there, whether it was Texas A&M, Arkansas, Tennessee, tonight, Georgia, and I really trust him a lot.
The Georgia series is where he emerged back in the everyday lineup. He started all 3 games against Georgia, then started the 3 games in the SEC tournament, and then the 3-game stage. So that's really where he emerged back in the lineup. And he has been pretty incredible in in that run. When you look at the outings that he had in Athens, the 2-for-4 day against South Carolina, and then obviously what he did in this regional as well, where he could have made a case to be the regional most outstanding player, but for Dill, he had 2 triples, a homer. He was incredible. So, sometimes coaches go by gut, go by feel. Jay said right there, you heard him say it, I trust him. When he was asked about if you were watching the game today, the in-game interview, which you can tell Jay hates doing those in-game interviews. I don't like him either. But Ben asked him, why did you choose Riley Cooper? And he said, I trust him. Big game experience, which is true. Riley Cooper's pitched in Omaha. He's pitched in regionals. He's pitched in super regionals. You need someone who's going to stay within themselves in the moment. And they decided to go with Cooper. And it worked. Similarly, you heard Jay say it. I trust Josh Pearson. So you trust him. You put him up there in those big moments, and he continues to deliver in big moments, and it's coming up aces. So you got to feel good if you're an LSU fan, man. This offense travels. It's been there all season. Your starting pitching has steadied with Skeens, Floyd, and then if you want Hurd in the number 3 role or you want him out of the bullpen, however you want to do it, you got 3 big arms that you trust to go extend and get you outs. And you have some guys in the bullpen that are showing they can pitch in big moments, in big spots against a really good offensive team, like they did against Oregon State. So Tigers advancing through to the super regional round. All right, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back. We'll get you caught up on what's going on right now in Lexington. Indiana and Kentucky are playing Game 7 of that regional. So the winner of this game that's going on right now will be in Baton Rouge next weekend. We'll run through that and give you some other takeaways from the weekend. The other big news, if you're maybe just knocking off of work, jumping in the car, you haven't heard yet, Pete Thamel of ESPN is reporting that LSU pitching coach Wes Johnson is preparing to become the new head baseball coach at Georgia. Georgia fired Scott Strickland after their season ended this year, and literally minutes after LSU polished off Oregon State to win the Baton Rouge Regional, Pete Thamel broke that news on Twitter. So if we get anything further, we'll let you know. All right, stay here. It's after further review.
AFR.
Brought to you by Clegg's Nursery. Summer is here. Y'all, we had a Saturday, did a pool day, and it's just so beautiful to be outside when the weather's nice and you have your sort of outdoor oasis. Told you for Mother's Day, took Erica over to Clegg's, and that's always our Mother's Day thing. She can buy as many flowers or whatever she wants, and I got to help her plant them. I can't complain about anything. So all the patio pots, the plants, the flowers. She got some dipldenias. She got some knockout roses, and it's just beautiful outside, man. It's beautiful in our outdoor area, and it's all because of the great selection and the great people over at Clegg's Nursery. Not sure what to get? Just ask. They have all the answers for you. Great people who are well-informed and can help you pick out what's going to be perfect for your garden area. Maybe you're having trouble with your lawn. Clegg's has products for that. You got mosquito problems? Get the mosquito barrier, the Aeon mosquito barrier at Clegg's Nursery. $24.99. You'll be done with mosquitoes 90 days at a time. Buy local, shop local. It's at Clegg's Nursery.
$0 over MSRP at Corval Toyota in Opelousas. That's right. Don't pay over MSRP. There's no markups, no games. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Turn my music high, 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 yeah. You don't know what you're doing. Sure I do. I'm from the streets with a hood to swallow on me. Bullets to follow on me. There's so much that you could run the slalom. The cops comb this top to bottom. They say that we are prone to violence, but it's home sweet home. With personalities clashing, chrome meets chrome. Prices up and down like this Wall Street.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
And that in a guy that was the third catcher.
They did it again. Beloso responds. And for the second time in 2 days, Travinsky and Beloso go back to back.
It's how it sounded on ESPN Plus. Cade Beloso, I believe that's a baker's dozen. It's a baker's dozen for Beloso on the season now. 13 homers. Travinsky hammered one to right. Beloso followed, hammering one to left. Consecutive days, they went back-to-back homers, but it wasn't the only time of the weekend where they went back-to-back hits, getting on base. There's so much pressure in the middle of that lineup. Muse, I would assume you'll have Musso at the box tomorrow, recapping the regional.
Oh yeah.
Give me. We went through the decision to start Skeens, which I know you talked about on Friday.
Yeah.
I mentioned Thatcher Hurd's emergence, which is so big.
Yeah.
I believe they've got enough bullpen arms, and then I just went through Cruz, Pearson, White. I'm not gonna stress too much of his struggles this weekend. You were out there at the box. Give me your other takeaways from the regional.
Okay. Well, if I'm going to look at another guy who had a nice offensive weekend that maybe kind of flew under the radar, I thought Jordan Thompson played pretty well offensively this weekend. Had a couple hits against Tulane in the Friday night game, or the Friday afternoon game, I should say. Sorry about that. Had a hit yesterday in last night's victory, and then had a couple more hits today. So in your 8-hole, I mean, look, that's a 5-hit weekend for Jordan Thompson in your 8-hole. And from an average standpoint, JT had kind of fallen off a little bit down the stretch of the season, but that could get him back on track. And if you have him, Joe Bear, and Pearson, 7 through 9, that re-ups the pressure throughout this lineup, which has been a hallmark all year for them. From a pitching standpoint, I would actually also point to Griffin Herring. Herring, the last few times out, both at Georgia, really both at against Mississippi State, at Georgia in the SEC tournament, when they brought him back out for the second inning, he had started to struggle. That was not the case today. And that was a good sign for me going forward with him, because Griffin Herring, I mean, if you remember, he came out of high school as a freshman into the fall with 3 pitches already, but you already saw an uptick in velocity his first fall in Baton Rouge. And it was, okay, can that guy kind of start maybe in a midweek role for you, come out of the bullpen and emerge on the weekend? And some injuries forced that to maybe happen a little sooner. But, I mean, when Shores and Edwards were still healthy, they went to Griffin Herring to close out the series win over Tennessee. So it happened early in the year, and it's just gotten better. So that was big for me. But as a whole, Matt, when I look at it, it looked like a lot of weekends looked for LSU this year. When they were playing and not losing weekends, like that's what it looked like. Paul Skeens went and shoved on Friday night. Your offense won in multiple ways, manufacturing runs and guerrilla ball, and your bullpen was good enough. Like, I think the only pitcher out of the bullpen this weekend that didn't give up runs was Gavin Guidry on Sunday night. But everyone else did their job, kept you in the game, minimized damage, and that's ultimately what they need with the offense that they have. So I thought it was a great weekend for them.
The Herring point was interesting as well. So Herring went 3 innings today. He did give up 2 runs on 3 hits, although one of the runs that scored was an inherited runner by Guidry. Guidry inherited Herring's base runner. That's how I should say it. But the Alabama series is where the conversation around Herring kind of changed a little bit. Because remember, for a while, it was Herring was the first out of the bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
And game 2 against Bama, they went Ackenhouse and Hurd to close out game 2. And that's where I think it shifted a little, where we go, okay, well, what's Jay's thinking here with Herring? What role do they think for him? What role does he have moving forward? This was a big spot. Look, Ackenhausen was first out of the bullpen today. And interestingly enough, as a random, we talked about it, the first 3 guys of the bullpen today were all lefties.
All of them.
And 2 years ago, they didn't have a single lefty on this team.
Not one.
Not one. They had 3 start and then first out of the bullpen. But an outing like that for Griffin Herring in a game like this, I think is massive. Because you also, we forget, you closed today with 2 freshmen.
Yeah.
With Herring and Guidry. Making their first regional appearances. You know, giving the ball to Guidry in the first Oregon State game to close it. Look, that was a 1-run game. You weren't protecting a giant lead. But it goes to show you, like Jay, he says this a lot. Like he'll say it. Like he said it with Pearson. I trust him. Said it with Raleigh Cooper in the end game. He's got big game experience. I trust him. He goes with guys he trusts. And with this pitching staff in particular, the bullpen, like who do you trust to go get you outs in leverage spots? It's not just let's go get somebody work, let's hope this works, let's play a matchup. It's who do you trust to go get you outs? Like the conventional thing today wouldn't have been to go with 3 straight lefties. It would have been to play a matchup, to find a righty, look at the analytics to say, okay, does this guy do better against, situationally, however you look at it. But he looked at it and said, who do I trust? Who do I trust to go get me outs? And he came up aces today, man. It was, again, a lot of this weekend was unconventional. Everyone spoke their piece on Skeens. On Friday, would you say, again, I wasn't here, but by and large, the response that I got, that I saw Twitter, social media, my text line, everything, was probably like 90-10. Like 90% of the people were like, what are you doing? And it's not just like players, former players, other coaches. Mike Rooney on
Squeeze Play.
On Squeeze Play. They still call it Squeeze Play.
They do, and I love Squeeze Play as an aside. It's
but they changed it.
It was base. Remember, it was bases loaded.
Yeah,
and then they changed it to Squeeze Play.
That's right. Mike Rooney was on the broadcast before the Tulane game, going like, and I don't know who it was. Matt Schick, Mike Rooney, and Burke were all on the broadcast, and they're going like, what the hell are you doing? And I know the counter argument was, well, if you can't beat Oregon State with Florida Herd, The real conversation is flipping it.
Yeah.
If you can't beat 40-loss Tulane with Floyd or Hurd, what are you doing? So, you had the single biggest pitching advantage in college baseball since Steven Strasburg, and you use that bullet against Tulane, against a 40-loss team. It's just, again, it all worked out. We never have to have the conversation again. It was an unconventional play. I don't even think that's debatable.
No, it's not.
It was unconventional. In the history of this format, since 1999, LSU as a 1 seed has never thrown its ace against a 4, ever. Now they've done it as a 2 seed.
Yeah.
Marceau threw in Eugene.
Mikael Hilliard threw last year.
Well, yeah, you had to do that last year.
But I mean, that's like ace, but Hilliard was your number one all last year.
And I know I asked Handegriff about this, our resident historian. He hates that too, by the way. He hates
really.
He hates
well, then quit knowing so much, Hanny. I mean, it's your fault.
No, but he even said so. The one he brought up was in 99, the first year when LSU played Northeast, now ULM, but they had Ben Sheets, and so he threw Ainsworth against Ben Sheets. But I didn't even realize this. So a listener corrected me. It was a good poll because I would have never remembered this. East Carolina was the 1 seed in Baton Rouge that year. LSU was a 2.
They hosted as a 2.
LSU hosted as a 2 in 99. So that wasn't even a 1-4 matchup. So, but the point is, it was unconventional. That's not debatable. It was an unconventional play to throw Skeens. But if they had lost, it would have. If they had lost, I said it would have been the baseball equivalent to January 9th, 2012. You had arguably your most talented roster ever, the top 2 picks in the draft, the best pitcher that's ever come through this program, the best player that's ever come through this program. You had a home regional. You're playing a 40-loss team, and if it didn't work out, you never escape that shadow.
No, ever. That's what I was going to say. He's answering questions about that forever. Not as long as he's at LSU. No, forever.
Yeah. But it worked out.
It did.
So we never have to have this conversation again.
Yeah.
It worked out. Awesome. There are many ways to skin a cat. Like, you can make it work. It worked this week. Great. I think they took the much more difficult path in doing what they did.
I agree.
I know you do.
No,
everybody
I
does.
agree.
If you don't, it's just because you're falling in line. But that's okay. It worked. And they're on to Super Regional Baseball. They're going to play the winner of the game that's on right now. Oh, Indiana tied it.
They tied it up. Yeah.
What did I miss? It's 2-2, Indiana and Kentucky. Top of the second. Hoosiers have runners at the corners with 2 outs. Go ahead.
These are very similar teams, too. A lot of small ball from both Indiana and Kentucky. But Kentucky loaded the bases in the bottom of the first, got 2 sac flies, took the lead. Indiana loaded the bases here with nobody out, and has since it was a fielder's choice that allowed the run to score. Okay. So it's tied up.
All right, weather was awful this weekend, of course. Love telling you about Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Tell you every day, do business with someone you know. That's us at Hudco Roofing. We had confirmed hail strikes in St. Gabriel, in Central, on Pico in Baton Rouge, Lafayette, New Orleans, confirmed hail this weekend. I'm going to remind you again, if you have hail, so often, check your homeowner's insurance policy. So often, your wind hail deductible is less than your named storm deductible. So if you're thinking, wait for a hurricane, don't. You could get your roof repaired, replaced cheaper with a lower deductible for wind hail than with a named storm. Let us come give you a free, no obligation roofing inspection. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Literally, we have boots on the ground in every market in this state. So no matter where you are, we'd love to help you out. Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. Ask about a fortified roof, where you can save as much as 52% on your homeowner's insurance. You heard me correctly. Ask about a fortified roof when you call us at Hudco. HudcoRoofing.com, HudcoRoofing.com. Okay, y'all. Final break. We'll come back, do a little Otter Locks to wrap up, find out what the Otters got us betting on tonight. We'll wrap up next. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
The Renaissance Hotel in Baton Rouge is a great spot. A great spot if you're welcoming in guests from out of town, maybe for the summer, for the graduation party, maybe some guests coming in this weekend for Super Regional Baseball. Set them up at the Renaissance Hotel. If the mother-in-law is coming in town from out of town, or whatever the case may be, the beautiful guest rooms are elegant and perfect and centrally located right there in Southtown on Bluebonnet near I-10. It's the Renaissance Hotel, but it's so much more than just elegant guest rooms. At the Renaissance Hotel, they can host your gathering of as many as 500 people. As few as a dozen, as many as 500. Whether it's formals, whether it's wedding receptions, fundraisers, charity events, award banquets, done it all at the Renaissance Hotel. And intimate board meetings and boardrooms for as few as a dozen people. And remember, Tallulah inside the Renaissance Hotel, a great place for that business lunch. It's the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off new 22 Ram 1500 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Down the stretch, we come final segment here on a Monday edition of AFR. One thing left to do. Let's find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
So we turn to the one and only, the incomparable, the often incomprehensible, a man who can see perfect 2020 thanks to Dr. Blake Williamson at the Williamson Eye Center. The incomparable Jimmy Ott. Otter, how are you?
Doing fantastic, Matthew. How was your little vacation?
Oh, take me back.
Yeah.
You know what happened though, Otter? When you spend a week day drinking, really drinking whenever you want, right? And eating whatever you want, whenever you want, at any time, at any point of the day. When you get back to reality, like I did today, where it's like smoothie for breakfast, protein bar, sensible lunch, water. My body's like, what are you doing to me now? It's been a little bit of an adjustment today.
Just comfort food, huh? After.
Man, no, like your boys got to get back on track, dog. We're making that happen today.
Get your routine, man. Get in your routine. Like little Nicky used to say, Jamarcus, you're overweight. Quit eating as much.
Well, I'll do that. But part of my routine also is making bets here on Otter Lock. So let's hope we get on. Hey, by the way, Otter, your boy had a money line play on Miami last night. How about it, man?
Oh, very good. What's that, 390 maybe?
Blind squirrel finds a number. That's all I got to say.
The plus 350, 390?
Yeah, 350.
Yeah, very good. Very good. I mean, hey, Matt, in the fourth quarter, for the offensive efficiency statistic.
1 minute remaining.
Oh, man.
The Miami Heat had the highest efficiency rating of a quarter for the whole season in the NBA.
Oh, wow. What a number.
So, and still had to sweat, a three-pointer. Let's get to it real quick.
Yeah, sorry. I pinched you. Go ahead.
The Rangers are red hot. They've won 9 of 10 series. And but their best pitcher last year is struggling this year, Martin Perez. So we like the Texas Bats right now. Love the Texas Bats. They're number 1 in batting average, on-base percentage, runs scored, run differential, the whole thing. We're going over 10 with Texas and St. Louis. We're fading Manoah, fading Toronto and Manoah. We're going with Houston even money. And Milwaukee, the Brewers are hot, looking for a 4-game sweep at Cincinnati with Tehran rolling.
All right, Texas over 10 and the Brewers. Catch Live at Lunch with Otter and Haney weekdays 11 to 1. Otter, we appreciate it, man. Have a great night.
Yep, we'll be eating Burnside salad tomorrow.
AFR.
That is so good. That would be at Mike Anderson's Seafood. For those who are in the Baton Rouge area, go check out our guys. Getting on down the road, let me remind you about Mold Zero USA. Mold-0USA.com. Mold-0USA.com. Y'all, it is rainy weather season. You were around this weekend. You felt it. You saw it. Rain everywhere. Rain, hail could cause issues with your home, maybe getting water in the home. If you got mold, get rid of it. We deal with water and humidity during the summer in South Louisiana, and what that means, it's a perfect breeding ground for mold. If you got mold, other pathogens, odors, Mold Zero can eliminate those for you. It's easy. It's minimally disruptive. You're not cutting sheetrock or pulling out carpet. You don't even have to pull stuff out of your house. All you got to do is let Mold Zero come in. They'll spray their patented non-toxic dry fog, let it dwell. It'll kill the mold, all its spores. As soon as the fog dissipates, you're free and clear. Mold-0USA.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz.